chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by freekeene.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, August 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,354 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $575. Antiwar.com reports already facing growing criticism from Sunday's attack on a school in the Sada province. Saudi Arabia appears to have doubled down on its air campaign against the northern part of Yemen, bombing a Doctors Without Borders (MSF) hospital in the Hajjah province and killing 15 more civilians. MSF confirmed the attack, saying that 3 of their staff members were killed and that 3 foreign doctors volunteering at the hospital were among those wounded. This was the 4th airstrike against a Doctors Without Borders facility in Yemen in the past 12 months. MSF reported that the GPS location of the hospital had been shared with the Saudis and that its location was well known. Despite this, after the hospital was bombed, rescue workers struggled to reach the site as warplanes continued to fly overhead, raising fears of additional strikes. The U.S. State Department expressed concerns about the attack on the hospital, but dismissed reporters' questions about possibly backing down on massive U.S. support for the Saudi air war, suggesting that the U.S. is not going to make this attack a serious deal any more than their concern about the previous Saudi airstrikes and the huge civilian death toll that has resulted. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports President Obama's administration on Monday transferred more than a dozen detainees at the controversial naval prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to the Middle East as part of the U.S. government's effort to close the facility by the time Obama leaves office. U.S. officials said in their announcement that 15 detainees, 12 from Yemen and 3 from Afghanistan, were transferred on Monday to the United Arab Emirates, an American ally that agreed to receive the inmates. It's the largest single transfer of detainees in Obama's presidency. Administration officials have been trying to get the UAE to accept the transfer since last year. Officials said all 15 detainees will undergo rehabilitation in the Middle East aimed at de-radicalizing them. Monday's transfer leaves just 61 inmates at the Cuban prison, which opened after 9/11 as a detention facility for suspected terrorist operatives. Since then, though, the prison has stood at the epicenter of numerous controversies, particularly allegations of torture during the Bush administration. Obama pledged to close the prison just days after taking office in 2009, but staunch resistance in Congress had made that prospect very difficult. The president has said he intends to have Guantanamo closed by the time he leaves office on January 20th, 2017. Part of the trouble in closing the prison are congressional restrictions that bar transferring any detainees to U.S. prisons, leaving Obama's administration to search for places overseas willing to accept them. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. Reuters reports North Carolina on Monday asked the U.S. Supreme Court to allow a state law requiring voters to show identification to remain in effect for the November 8th U.S. election, despite an appeals court decision that the measure discriminates against minority voters. Lawyers for Republican Governor Pat McCrory said the status quo should be maintained so close to the election, citing court precedent in their favor. The law, which also limited early voting, was enacted in 2013. The Richmond, Virginia-based 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled on July 29th that the law intentionally discriminated against minority voters. The same court refused to put its decision on hold for the November election. Critics say such laws passed in Republican-dominated states make voting harder for minorities who tend to support Democrats. Supporters of the laws say they are necessary to prevent voter fraud. North Carolina directed its request to Chief Justice John Roberts, who has responsibility for emergency requests arising from the federal appeals court that covers that state. The state is not seeking to restore all provisions of the law that were invalidated, meaning some provisions will not be in effect for the election, whatever the High Court decides. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
California is reeling from Super Rainbow Percival, which left a trail of devastation along the West Coast. A luminous band of destruction touched down in Santa Barbara. Percival set a record as the most powerful rainbow in U.S. history, with at least 30 confirmed fatalities and damage estimates in the billions. The vividly saturated colors seared through homes and roads, charring everything in its path. Those exposed to the rainbow's fury say they're lucky to be alive.
The sky was completely blue. All of a sudden, it's filled with brilliant hues of red and indigo.
All I can say is when I was a kid, rainbows didn't cut people in half.
Meteorologists say that Percival is just the latest in a pattern of increasingly dangerous rainbows, and that they're only growing stronger as global temperatures rise. Percival also comes on the heels of some extreme weather phenomena overseas. Authorities in the Philippines are still searching for thousands in the aftermath of mega sunset Wilma.
This is the Onion News Network.
Seems fairly antisocial.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, inviting you to join us here, the toll-free number where you can take control of the airwaves and bring up anything you want is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in studio tonight, you've got Ian.
DJ the Spy.
And Johnson.
So we're going to tell you the latest on the Robin Hood situation coming up tonight. But first, Johnson, you had something that you wanted to talk about, which is why it pays to be grumpy.
Yes.
And I said, this is a perfect story for you. I've not seen it. I don't know what you're going to say. But, you know, you've always struck me as a little angry, a little grumpy.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
Although you're smiling tonight.
I'm a pessimist.
You look okay tonight.
But whenever I'm smiling on the outside, just know that I'm not on the inside.
Really?
For the most part.
Well, you know, that's okay.
Well, you've been doing a lot of working out. I don't know if we can talk about that. But
sure.
Like, you've got to be feeling better than you've been feeling.
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
physically.
Yeah, a little bit.
How much weight have you lost?
I've lost almost 10 pounds.
In what, like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
That's pretty
good. Keep going.
That's pretty good.
I lost about 50. I mean,
not in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks?
No. But I mean,
that's like dangerous level of weight loss.
I'm coming up on a weight loss of 100.
No. I mean, the most important thing about any weight loss regimen is just to start it. It's I don't care how fat you are.
It, right?
No,
well, it's very discouraging because fat is 3,500 kilocalories a pound. So like when I was doing our walk to Boston recently with James, so James and I Lark, I said, okay, we're going to see who's tougher. We're just going to go
3 towns over.
Right.
No, 17 miles in the heat. We're being bitten by the insects, and we ran out of water. And it's really hot. And I said, well,
that sounded like a smart decision.
I'm going to keep going. I'm getting to Boston or you're quitting. There's only 2 options. And so it was this really interesting. We were watching the Navy SEALs.
So he quit.
Of course he quit. He said, I will bust my skull open as I did at your recent 4th of July, New Hampshire.
Well, now we know who's tougher. Is it the NSA or the Army?
The Army is a bunch of weaklings.
Your fiance used to be in the Army, and
yes.
You used to be in the NSA.
Well, I mean, we actually were motivating each other because we both knew that the other...
Or you would have quit earlier.
Well, I remember the deal was I would buy him a car, and...
If you tapped out first.
If I tapped out first. And then what would he get? I said, we don't even need to consider that because
you're not tapping
I am not tapping out first.
All right, so let's get back into the story here that Johnson wanted to share with us. And by the way, where's it coming from, this anger Grumpy story or whatever.
It's like a BBC Future.
Okay.
The BBC. Also, before we move on, I did want to say that I'm actually rolling up on it's been a very, very long course of weight loss, but I'm actually rolling up on 100 pounds of weight loss. Total.
Well, congratulations, my good sir.
Since,
I'm always happy to hear when you meet
over
those.
10 years, but yeah, I've just slowly been losing weight. This story from BBC Future. Being bad-tempered and pessimistic helps you to earn more, live longer, and enjoy a healthier marriage. It's almost enough to put a smiler on the dourest of faces. So
you ever think they just make... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. On stage, they're gonna give several examples of people. Right. On stage, he's a lovable, floppy-haired Prince Charming. Off camera, well, let's say he needs a lot of personal space. He hates being a celebrity. He resents being actor. To his ex-girlfriend Elizabeth Hurley's friends, he was known as Grumple Stiltskin. Hugh Grant may be famed for being moody and a little challenging to work with, but could a grumpy attitude be the secret to his success? The pressure to be positive has never been greater. Cultural forces have whipped up frenzied pursuit of happiness, spawning $1 billion book sales, a cottage industry and self-help and plaster.
Yeah, where are all the anger books?
Right.
Where's all the self-anger books?
I want to be angry and sad and drunk and heroin. I want to be miserable.
Right. There isn't that. It's all like, oh, be happy all the time. That's gonna and it doesn't work. It's clear that all these industries and all this money.
Of course, you would say that you're negative.
And what's happening? I'm starting to lose weight. As soon as I started getting negative and really beating myself up and getting honest, things have started to change.
Well, I wouldn't say honesty's negative. I just said you started to get honest with yourself. You said, this is not what I want.
Sometimes the truth.
There's nothing negative about saying this is not what I want to be. Physically, this is not the body I want. What kind of body do you want, Johnson?
Sure.
Tell me.
Sure. I mean, that's
you tell me the body you want, I'll help you get it.
If you can get to the goal either direction, then it doesn't matter, right? Like if your goal is to lose weight and you can do it through positive thinking or just being angry at yourself.
Right.
If it's working.
Okay, for example, every single social movement throughout history that's ever been successful has spawned from anger. Period.
Sure, people are frustrated with the way things are. Well, they want to see change.
It's valid, valuable, and necessary. Anger is one of those things that's like, people sometimes need to have it.
No, I agree. You can't avoid it. I don't think that you can avoid at certain points in your life having anger. But in my opinion, it's bad to stay there.
No, just get over it and be happy. Yeah. And it's like, no, use it to motivate yourself.
Sure, if that's what
control,
you need.
Take I don't think it's if you need it. Everyone needs it. Yes, if that's what you need. Yes, it is what you need.
Sure, but if you can be okay, so if something happens in the world and you get angry about it, then that motivates you to do something. Okay, do you need to stay angry in order to stay motivated?
I don't know. Yeah,
I would say
so.
You do not. Let's go to your calls and thoughts here. We'll get into your list deeper, but you can call in about anything. We got Richard on the line in Gulf Breeze, Florida. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, TJ, and Johnson. Hello, Richard.
Hey, how you doing? I was just sitting here, and I saw like Mark Stevens posted a new video on YouTube, and and then it just flashed in my mind like you went to court, like he was your attorney until the judge was yelling at the TV and the monitor and stuff, and then threatened to unplug him and unplugged him and stuff. Whatever became of that? And are you going to file an appeal or whatever?
So you're asking about a case that was actually not court. It was an administrative hearing at the DMV. And I guess if you search for Ian Freeman administrative hearing DMV or something like that, or Ian Freeman DMV.
Oh, you poor dear. You had to go down and deal with those people. Okay.
And so, so basically you go in and then there's some administrator who is an attorney by trade, likely, but he's not a judge. He just is an administrative DMV bureaucrat. And the thing they were trying to do was, I think, suspend my driving privileges or something like that. It was all tied in with a situation that involved getting a name change. And yes, it is a somewhat involved story that I probably couldn't even retell because it involves a lot of details that I did not retain.
That's right, Ian Bernard.
But if you want to learn more about it, I did write it up, and there's a full video of it that you can watch, and then I'm sure there's some sort of follow-up over at freekeene.com. I don't know exactly what to look for except for maybe DMV hearing or something like that.
Would you have him represent you again? I mean, he got unplugged and stuff, but I mean, he made valid points and stuff. I mean, would you have him represent you again?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind upsetting a administrative bureaucrat or whatever. I mean, I thought it was pretty entertaining watching the two of them go back and forth. So what you're referring to is
he's yelling at
Mark Stevens.
The guy was yelling at the TV.
Right.
I mean, that was the funniest thing. He's yelling.
Yeah, it was very...
I mean, that's how I feel when I watch the news.
It was very funny.
Fuck you, stop.
Yeah, so Mark Stevens
I just want to know what became of that.
Mark Stevens is a kind of a legal guru, for lack of a better term. He helps people sort of reveal the violence inherent in the system. There's no guarantee that his approach is going to get your case thrown out. In this case, his approach got him thrown out of the administrative tribunal, and it was pretty amusing watching it happen. So what happened out of that? I was able to... I was basically threatened by the court, ultimately, that I had to get my license put in my new name or whatever. I had to get a New Hampshire license rather than a Florida license, or else they were going to suspend my driving privileges forever. And so I went ahead and I did that, which ended up leading me to getting arrested for a couple of things. One of them, unsworn falsification, a couple of misdemeanor charges based on a paperwork snafu. And I'm currently still on a suspended sentence on those charges through November.
You better behave yourself, you're naughty boy.
So,
they can revoke that at any time. All it takes is that one clerk. She can hit a button, change valid to invalid. Is your license valid? Why? Change it to an N with one hit of a button. So do not make them DM clerks mad.
Are you going up on the chopping block for that? Are you going to be going up on the chopping block for the misdemeanors and the?
No, that was back in 2014. As I said, I'm on a suspended sentence. So normally, when you get a sentence, they can suspend it by not actually having you go to jail or whatever, and you just have to be a good boy on the outside, and then they'll let you off the suspended sentence after a couple
hold
years.
the stick. They don't. They don't swing the stick.
Exactly.
They just hold it.
But the good news is when I moved to New Hampshire, I never updated any kind of license. I kept my Florida license for many years, and the only reason I ended up surrendering it was because of the New Hampshire bureaucrats basically threatening me with the loss of driving privileges. And the only reason they came after me was because I'm an activist, and they knew who I was.
I got a great story about the DMV.
So the average person... Thank you, I appreciate that. The average person, thanks for the call, the average person would be able to, in theory, get away with it for much longer because they're not always being scrutinized by the authorities and the police and things like that, like I was. 855-450-FREE. You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live.
All right, listen up, because this is the most important thing you're going to hear all day. What if I said you could make money flipping houses without any cash, credit, or manual labor? And what if I said you could do it part-time from the comfort of your home? Sound unflippin' believable? Hi, I'm Preston Neely, and I'm going to prove it by sending you a free copy of my smash hit selling book, How to Get Rich in Real Estate. It sells online for $19.95, but I'm giving away free copies this week. To get one before they're gone, call 1-800-960-4295. I used to be so broke, I had my electricity shut off 9 times, but I figured out a simple way to make money flipping houses without even breaking a sweat. Now I'm living the good life, and so should you. Listen, if you're sick and tired of stressing about money, this book could change your life. Hands down, it's the fastest, easiest way to get started in real estate. Let me prove it. Call right now to find out how to get your free book. When they're gone, they're gone. Call 1-800-960-4295. 1-800-960-4295.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Injury Help Desk is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states.
Attention prescription antibiotic drug users. Have you or a loved one suffered an aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm after taking the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox? These popular antibiotic drugs have been prescribed more than 80 million times since 2004, and medical studies show an increased risk of the following injuries: aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, and abdominal aortic aneurysm. If you or a loved one used the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox and suffered from aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are, 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, inviting you to join us right here, toll-free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The Skype username is lrn.fm. If you want to join us there, you can bring up whatever happens to be on your mind. We're going to get back into the question of anger. Can it actually motivate? Can it be a good thing? Can it help you? And Johnson's got that story. We'll get back into that here. Your calls and thoughts come first. Also, did you hear the number of Bitcoin has been upped? It was $50,000 worth of Bitcoin. Now it's $250,000 worth of Bitcoin that is in the offering to Bernie Sanders. He gets to choose the charity of his choice. All he's got to do to get $250,000 worth of Bitcoin donated to the charity of his choice is agree to a 3-hour-long debate with Adam Kokesh. Bernie gets to choose the objective moderator. He gets to choose the debate location. And all he's got to do is show up and complete the debate in which both men have equal time, and then $250,000 worth of Bitcoin will be donated to the charity of Bernie's choice.
Bernie's not going to take that offer.
No, he's completely ignoring the offer thus far. But if you know how to get in touch with him, maybe you should put this in front of him, because we don't know if he's even seen it yet. Presumably he has. Because
I'm sure some of his staff and said, look, this Kokesh guy is crazy. We don't want to give him any airtime. It's going to interfere with our agenda. So if we were talking 5, 10 million, we might consider it. But, there's everyone has their price. So.
Bernie.freetalklive.com is where you can go to learn more about it. It's Bernie.freetalklive.com. We're going to try some.
By the way, I'm total Adam Kokesh fan. Adam would trounce Bernie.
Oh, of course he would.
Yes. I mean, this is a guy who took a chokehold from the U.S. Park Police for dancing at the Jefferson Memorial.
But that's the thing. It depends on the perspective. If there's a bunch of Bernie fans in the audience, they'll probably think Bernie trounced Adam Kokesh.
Of course. But
so it just all depends on your perspective. We're going to try something a little bit different here, a bit of experimental radio. We've got 2 callers who are just some of the most fascinating out there in the talk radio industry. Ralph is with us and Sarah in Albuquerque.
Oh, God.
I want to turn the show over to the two of you, and you can kind of figure it out from here. Maybe you could interview one another or whatever. But here, there's either going to be magic here or it's going to be a complete failure. So, Sarah, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So we've got Sarah, and I'm going to turn you up here just because you're a little bit quiet. And then, Ralph, are you with us?
I'm with you, yes.
Okay.
Hello to you, Sarah. How are you?
We are doing fine, my good sir.
No, he's talking to Sarah.
Am I talking to Sarah right now? Okay. All right. Hello, Sarah from New Mexico. I believe the state where you're calling from. I'm here in New Jersey. Now, the subject matter in my mind right now is what happened there in Wisconsin, which, in my opinion, is, despicable and a disgraceful moment for our country, okay? This is a naked display of bigotry, okay, and an open declaration of racial warfare. This is what white guilty has brought upon in this country. Okay, for those who are not aware, there is a white flight that's happening right now in most major urban areas in this country, and as far as El Negro animal is concerned, and the racism of the Black Lives Matter, it takes one to know one. El Negro animal, in my opinion, is a racist of the primitive kind. He's one with Satan. He's one with...
right now, I just wish I had a time machine. I could send Ralph back to the 1950s, to Little Rock, Arkansas. He would fit in perfectly.
Sarah,
you have to give Sarah some chance to respond.
Right.
yeah,
Yes.
I do believe that racism is very rampant in America, and I hear this a lot.
And it's not a one-way deal, Sarah. You know that, right, my dear? It's not a one-way deal. Blacks can be racist stuff. Enough with this talk about, the hate that it produce, okay? You can go back to, the Malcolm X interview with the late, Mike Wallace, okay? This is the reason why we have issues, because of, the system, the racist system being imposed upon us. Are you kidding me? I mean...
Are you kidding him, Sarah? That's what I want to know.
Well, I'm in agree with it. I feel like...
that's a hallelujah moment right there. It's agreeing there.
Wait a minute, but I did want to... Ralph, did you know there's a magnetic levitation train in Europe and in Japan? It's called a bullet
maglev.
train.
Yeah, they call it maglev. You're right. They call it maglev.
Well, you know what? I'm thinking that, it's actually suspended 1 inch, and it's magnetic, and when they charge it with electricity, it goes at like 180 miles per hour. And the thing is that California wanted to put one from Los Angeles to San Francisco. It was talked about 10 years ago, and nobody is even talking about it. It just the conversation just dropped, So that was the point that I called in about. But, the thing is that I know that African Americans in America, they suffer a great deal of police harassment, a lot of police brutality, and a lot of discrimination.
What about what's the black inflicting things to other black? Okay, I read something, Sarah, on I believe that's the website maintained by one Mr. Glenn Vick. When and the article was very, very interesting in that it mentioned something about Black Lives Matter and the race war. Okay, and they are definitely, absolutely, in my opinion, instigating one. Trying to fan the flame of one. These animal elements, the Black Lives Matter, we can do without them. Okay, and if you follow the money on this whole thing, who is giving the support to these people, it goes back to a man named George Soros. And the funny thing about him is he's also pushing for more. Refugees pouring into Europe and transforming Europe into Eurabia. Europe would not be what it is as we know it, or as I know it when I first came here in America. Okay, back in the days when they have the uprising in Poland.
I always told Ralph he'd make a great talk show host. I mean, we could have gone away and gotten some coffee during that. Ralph, you're very, very
advertisers
good.
would have dumped us.
And it's not far. It's not impossible for anyone to believe that the shifting demographic going on in Europe right now would definitely transform that whole place.
Ralph, thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate it.
I think that they canceled the train, the maglev train in California because they were white guilty.
I'm going to let Sarah get the last word in on this. Go ahead, Sarah. He pretty much dominated that conversation.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing about it is that, I think we have enough engineers and intelligent people, educated people, that we could have a magnetic levitation train. So then,
Goddess bless you. I mean, you both got your topics out there, and it almost sounded like a conversation. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for the call, Sarah. Magnetic trains. Well, if the market says that that's what people want, then that's what they should have. But let's
Free Talk Live, where anything goes.
Yeah, let's keep the government out of it. That worked a little bit better than I thought that it would. My expectations weren't high, though. This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
ProPure water filters, making water great again. Taste and feel the difference with state-of-the-art filter technology. Pro 1 G2.0 and Pro Max filters are independent lab-tested to NSF standards. Choose from Gravity, countertop, pitcher, shower, and inline filtration products. There's a ProPure for you. Buy risk-free today. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Lil Drums. Every bit as fun as a full-size Nestle drumstick cone and definitely cuter. Visit us at drumstick.com. Vacations are all about family time, but you don't have to leave home to have fun. Take 1 weekend a month and devote it to family activities. Pull out the board games and puzzles, serve up some treats, or have a picnic. Even without leaving home, you'll feel like you've really had some time away. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here toll free. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. We've got the audio on-demand listen line available to you now that allows you to listen to not just Free Talk Live, but almost a dozen on-demand shows that are mostly originally sourced from LRN.FM, which is our little radio network that you can get online and also on satellite. And now on your phone at 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. We've had a listen line for a long time that allowed you to listen to just the live stream from LRN.FM. This actually allows you to choose which show you want to listen to anytime you want. And because it's just a long-distance phone call, it doesn't actually use any of your data on your cell phone's data plan. But, of course, it is going to use long-distance minutes, so make sure you've got unlimited free long-distance before you call the number, or at the very least know what you're getting into with your cell phone plan. Number 641-793-9660. Plus, you can leave us a message if you want while you're listening to the show. Maybe you're inspired, you hear something you want to argue about or add something to. You're welcome to hit 0, and then you'll get a prompt to leave a message, and then that'll be delivered to us via our email boxes. So here again is that number. Punch it into your phone and save it. 641-793-9660. 641-793-9660. It's Ian, TJ, and Johnson in the studio tonight. I just want to address a complaint that came in from one of our, I would say, semi-regular callers. I don't think I won't put his name out there unless he wants to call in and talk about it. But the caller is frustrated by... or the person who sent the message is frustrated by the fact that Ralph was allowed to go on. And what I said was, look, first of all, Ralph is what you call a chronic caller in the business, meaning that he will call as long as he's not doing something else that for whatever reason takes him away from his schedule, but he calls like clockwork every single night on this radio program. And so, sorry, TJ, try that again.
I'm sorry, someone who wants to listen to you that much, Ian, because I love the heck out of you, but I would not call into this show every day.
A chronic caller isn't necessarily a chronic listener. Some people, like Sarah, for instance, are frequently on the phones, and it's pretty clear they're not listening to the show. They're just calling because they know they can call this show. They know it's an open phone show. They know they're not going to get screened out. Your typical talk radio program is going to screen out any calls with the exception of the ones that they know their host can handle, that's on the topic that's on the table at that moment.
Yeah.
That's generally how talk radio works. We break the rules on this show, and we will let anybody call in as long as you can.
As long as you don't violate the FCC rules, because there's those 7 magic words you can't say.
Right. I don't know if there are 7 words, but there are certain words that would definitely get our stations in trouble.
Me, yeah, well, we always think of creative ways to try to break, and we're like, nah, we better not risk it. The FCC could get mad and take us off the air.
So anyway, it's an open phone show, which means that you could call in and debate Ralph. You could call in, like if you want to talk to Ralph, you can always just, if I knew that you wanted to talk to Ralph and Ralph was on the line and I knew that you were available, I'd probably send you a message on Skype because this guy's on Skype. Like, hey, Ralph's on hold. Did you want to talk to him?
I'm just, as an engineer, I'm looking at this. I am looking at this as an engineer, and you're free to tell me that I am full of it, and this is awful advice. But I'm like, look, dude, if a show is making you angry, do what I do in this show. Like the two of you are going on about trademark law, and I'm just sitting there screaming at the two of you, and I can't. I'm driving back from Illinois to here with James, and of course the whole way I'm just going, you guys, no, your analysis is all wrong. Da 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 da. And James just, why don't you call into the show? Tell him what the correct answer is.
Right.
Because because the show was already over. We were listening to it on a delayed stream. So I was just having to listen to you guys get the wrong answer after, and just rather than saying, look, I don't know why it is the way it is, and just shutting up. The two of you went on and on and on, and I'm just going, dear God, if the two don't know what you're talking about, just talk about something you do know about. Because the people who are listening, they're going, no, you don't understand. Here's exactly why they're doing it. And I'd be telling, I forget who it was. Oh, it was The Legend of Zelda. I remember you were complaining about The Legend of Zelda. And I said, well, the way Trademark worked, and eventually Johnson got the correct answer. He finally figured it out. And I was like, oh, thank Jesus. There's one guy who got the correct answer on
what you're referring to is Nintendo has to go after their own fans in order to protect their copyrights.
Yes, the trademark. Copyright is different. Trademark is very specific So you know what a Xerox and a Kleenex are?
Name brands.
Those are name brands for tissues and photocopies. Now, here's where it gets interesting. They lost their right to trademark Xerox. If I want now, say, here's a little thing. If I want that HP printer over there, it might be a little dicey to try to put Xerox and make a printer out of that. But I can't, trademark Xerox because it's in the public domain. If I want to make a Xerox...
Is it really? Or is that just what people say? It's just become so common that when people say, I want to make a copy, that they say Xerox.
Yeah, just like I'm going to Google something. And so the thing is...
I'm going to drink a Coke.
But are you really serious? They've lost their trademark?
Yes, because Xerox actually sued for the right to say, it'll make Xerox copies. So like this one company that made photocopiers said, it will make perfect Xerox copies. And Xerox sued saying you can make a photocopy, but Xerox is our trademark. And because they had failed so consistently to defend it, the courts ruled, as they always will, if Nintendo out there, sure, they don't care about Zelda. Zelda's been dead for 20 years. But if they don't defend that Zelda trademark, if they don't go out and say, take it down, they don't care if you take it down. They just have to send the threat to take it down. Because here's what will happen. One day, Microsoft and the Xbox or Sony with the PlayStation, what if they want to make a Legend of Zelda game? Nintendo can't do anything. Right now, they could say, look, we have a trademark on Zelda. If you want to make a Zelda video game, you have to come to us because you can make any other video game you want, but if you want Zelda...
You got to pay a licensing fee.
Licensing fee, because that's our trademark.
Yep.
And, Your Honor, every time we've been challenged on it, we've defended it. So when someone tried to put up our Zelda thing on the Internet Archive, we sent them a takedown notice. We didn't actually enforce it. If they don't take it down, the legal department probably doesn't care. All they care about is they've paid their $500 to the legal firm. They have it on record. They've made the takedown threat. And that way, if they ever do have to actually sue Sony or Xbox or Microsoft, an actual threat, they've got a bunch of documents to say we've enforced our trademark consistently. Make them take this Xbox Zelda game down.
Yeah, but couldn't they also say you need permission from us and give that permission very freely?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the other way to handle this?
Well,
if
I were the trademark lawyer, I'd say that's very risky because that's dilution of your trademark. So, I mean, this happened with Jack Daniels.
But how would it be dilution of the trademark if they're actually...
That's what they call it in the legal biz.
It's
dilution of your trademark.
But it's not dilution because they're bringing it under their trademark. They're bringing it under their umbrella.
So if you give permission, then it better be very restrictive permission and said, okay, you're allowed to host it on the Internet Archive, but no reposting.
Maybe that's why Paramount came up with the restrictions for fan films.
Well, why wouldn't they just say, we're going to take ownership, but you need to give us partial ownership of this?
Well, the thing about trademark law, it's very funny. And, you have to defend your trademark. The moment you stop defending your mark, it's not like you can just register a trademark.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but what I'm saying is that there's obviously
they could do
methods and ways that they could go about this. One is threatening people,
yes,
right, and just going with this is what the government obviously wants us to do because the government loves to threaten people, so we should threaten people because that's sort of like the default mode of operation. But the other option would be to say, and we need to defend our trademark, and in order to defend our trademark, you either need to be our property or we need to give you permission, and we can't really give you permission because that would dilute our trademark. And they could explain this and say, so you need to become our property.
Actually,
so what do we need to do?
Jack Daniels did a remarkable thing. There was like a Piano No. 7 book. I forget the exact. I mean, basically, someone made a book cover in the style of the Jack Daniels trademark label. Right. And you buy a bad bottle of Jack Daniels whiskey. Jack Daniels handled it very classily. They said, look, we are so honored you chose to make a parody or an imitation of our logo for your book cover. Unfortunately, it would dilute our trademark, and we could risk if someone else were to try to do the same thing with a whiskey bottle. We haven't defended. So we're not asking you. We just will pay you to destroy all the book covers. We'll pay you to have all new book covers printed. Keep the same book title. Just don't make it look like our logo. And we're honored, but we can't. And they were willing to pay for all the printing fees. And that was a classy way to handle it.
Seems really unusual.
Because they had already printed up like 100,000 of this book. And so their legal department said, look, we'll come up with a solution. We'll pay you to get rid of the book covers and just put up a new whatever book cover you want, but you can't use ours.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450, free. I suspect most companies wouldn't take that generous approach to somebody who was, I guess imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, so I'm glad they saw it that way. Seems like a good approach in a limited scheme of options. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450, free. Skype, LRN.FM.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. I'll be on the ballot for president in all 50 states. If a Democrat is elected president, If a Republican is elected president, in 4 years we will still be at war. America will be 4 years deeper in debt. We will have 4 more years of rising taxes, bigger government, crony capitalism instead of free markets, and less freedom. How do we know this? Because that's what both parties keep delivering. If you're an optimist, you know that one day America will have its act together. One day we won't be at war. One day taxes will be fair. One day our social and economic challenges will be conquered, not by force, but by cooperation and mutual respect. To the independent majority of Americans who feel as I do, I say, why wait one more day?
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Technically, I wasn't invited to this wedding, but you can stroll into any event with a camera and people will assume you're the photographer. This bag's holding more than cameras. It's also got an RFID scanner that's picking up all your personal information. Debit cards, credit cards, even that key to your office. So while the bride's taking his last name, I'll be taking yours. Say cheese!
Do you have a stronghold on your identity? ID Stronghold pioneered RFID blocking technology over a decade ago. For about the same price as an unprotected wallet, you can get a stronghold on your credit cards, license, and other critical data with ID Stronghold wallets, card sleeves, and purses. Other RFID blocking technology simply isn't the same. Check the label. If it's not an ID Stronghold, it's probably weak.
I'm Walt Augustinowicz, founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. Protect yourself from crimes you can't see with ID Stronghold wallets in bifold, trifold, and the popular mini style.
Get the original RFID blocking wallet. IDstronghold.com.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to may be even more nervous than you are. And the way things are now, your references have never been more important. Here are 3 tips. First, know that employers are checking. Every hire is under the microscope these days. Second, they won't just be checking references you provide. Figure that all of your ex-employers will get a call and be asked, would you hire him or her again? Third, assume you will be Googled. So before you apply, remove all those party animal photos from your Facebook page. Even if you're not in the job market, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateurs, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited here to join us toll free and bring up whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. The Skype username is LRN.FM. In studio tonight, Ian here.
TJ the Spy.
And Johnson.
Whether it's being angry or trademarks or the DMV, we've talked about those things tonight. We'll get back into Johnson's story about anger here in moments, but your calls and thoughts come first. We've got Hung Like Jesus on the line via Skype. Calling from, where are you at, Hung Like Jesus?
I'm right outside of Atlanta.
Right outside of Atlanta. Welcome back to the show. What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, this Ralph clown that I just really can't. I can hardly stomach.
Well,
Ian, I realize this is Free Talk Live, but Ian, I've heard you dismiss people mid-sentence who sounded crazy. I've heard that several times, but for some reason, Ralph seemed. Y'all think Ralph is funny. I don't find him funny at all. What Ralph needs to do, what he actually needs to do, he needs to focus on getting into a decent speech therapy, or focus on the animals in his country, because animals in his country are a lot worse than any animal I've ever come across here.
Now, you're referring to the Philippines, which is where Ralph is from. I don't think Ralph is particularly funny, but sometimes I'm amused by his antics. And most of the, for the most part, I think most of our chronic callers aren't really the best callers in
You
the
don't
world.
say, Ian.
But that's
the Howard Stern whack pack is just lining up at our door.
That's just part and parcel of doing an open phones show. And most of the time we don't stick with the chronic calls for very long. Generally, the more you call the show, the less sort of leeway that you have to just go on about whatever. So we usually will call him out and, question him pretty ferociously on the things that he says. Today we tried something different. We happen to have him and Sarah on the line at the same time, and so we decided to do a conference call and see how it worked out.
Well, I just don't like sitting through it. I enjoy listening to Free Talk Live. And
The funny thing is some people do like Ralph. So you can find people who like him.
You always know the wrong thing to say.
They may not agree. Okay, that's fine, TJ. But they may not agree with Ralph, but they're entertained by his calls. Other people can't stand him. The same thing's true of James Witt. The same thing's true of Sarah. And of course, when you ask people, what do you think of so and so, then you'll find that some of the people who don't like Ralph like Sarah, but they don't like James Witt, or they like you. There have been positive comments toward you. You're not a chronic caller, but you've yet gotten positive comments from the amplifier forum. So I know for a fact some people enjoy your calls, but I bet some people don't like your calls either. It's just the way it goes. Some people like some of the hosts, some don't like some of the other hosts.
And
what
that's
can
why
you do?
I keep my calls to a minimum, because I know everybody want to hear from me every night. But another point I like, and I hope Ralph is listening, which I doubt if he listens to the show.
That's a big question. I don't know. I'd say Ralph is more likely to listen than Sarah, but I don't know.
Well, anyway, another thing I need for Ralph to understand that he's neither black nor white. So speaking from either side makes no sense to me. I don't think white people need his defense. And he knows as much about his white guilt as he knows about Black Lives Matter. He needs to leave both of them alone.
See, that's what I like. I like, people responding to other people, callers, addressing what other callers have said or other hosts
If Hung
have
Like
said.
Jesus is angry, I would just say, dude, come on, stop listening to us. If we're making you angry, just stop listening to us. I know you want to listen, but if someone's making you angry, just please.
I'd rather
turn
someone call in than stop listening. I'd rather what you're doing right now. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Hung.
A few minutes that I have to. It's only a few minutes, and he only gets me. He only gets me a little bit hurt when he's calling. After he's gone, I'm done. But I just, just hearing him. I just really want to hear it. Ralph from New Jersey.
Well, the best thing to do in that case would be to, maybe, if we can get more people calling in, then the other rule is generally if you're a chronic caller, you have to wait to the back of the pack of callers. So if there's multiple calls on hold and there's a chronic caller who's one of them, the chronic caller will have to wait all the way through whenever we get through with whoever else is on hold. And that's just because we hear from them too often. So it's like it's almost like playing the same song on the radio in a way. Like the callers on talk radio are kind of the songs of talk radio. And so if you play Ozzy's Crazy Train over and over again, some people are going to get pretty sick of it. But there's still those people that love Crazy Train. So you just can't please everybody. The best solution, I think, is to participate, not to run away, TJ, as you're suggesting, but
just
to participate.
turn off the thing for 5 minutes, and when Ralph hangs up, turn it back on.
Sure.
I usually do, but I was caught off guard tonight. And
that Ralph, he'll sneak up on you.
I just love people. They listen to like Rush Limbaugh, Howard Stern. This person makes me so angry. I listen to his show every day. And did you know what he said? I'm like, no, Why are you listening to someone who makes you angry every day?
So Hung Like Jesus, now that you've gotten that out of your system, was there anything else you wanted to share with us tonight?
I do. And it's something I've been wondering about for a while. It may be personal. It may be too personal. And I don't even know if you want to answer it.
Let's find out.
But I've been wondering what happened to Julie. I haven't heard from her in a while.
Oh, yeah. She kind of moved on in her life. She's got a new boyfriend, moved physically out of Keene, and people move on. So
wait, was that bank loan girl?
A long time ago.
Was that bank loan girl? Or was that someone else?
She worked at a bank for a period of time. Yeah.
She was bank loan girl.
I don't know
That's
if she.
like
I don't think
years
she worked in
ago,
the loans
at this
department.
point, right? That's several years now. At this point,
Since
she's
been
that
on,
Julie, right? Okay,
Since since she's been on the show, or since she's moved out of Keene.
Since she's moved out of Keene, since you guys split, that's a long time.
I don't know, a couple
It's
years.
been a while. I was just
Couple
curious
years.
about it this whole time. Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
She's still around. She's still in New Hampshire.
That's true. Thanks,
All right,
Hung, for the
that's
call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And, I got to say, I just saw this. I didn't see the topic until just now. James Witt was on hold. He wanted to talk to Hung Like Jesus, and I didn't see it until after Hung Like Jesus had gotten off the line. So I apologize about that. The toll-free number here is 855, and he's since hung up. 855-450-FREE. That's the number that allows you to bring up whatever's on your mind. So we should
have Witt and Ralph on. They were battling racism.
No, Ralph doesn't get to call
Are
back
you a
tonight.
neo-Nazi?
I
Are
don't
you a
mean tonight.
KKK supporter? Well, call Free Talk Live and
at
talk
some
about
point in
your
the future.
feelings.
That would be, the battle of racism. You could have that segment.
Now, wait, is Witt a racist?
I think he is.
I mean, he's definitely against Japanese people, it seems.
Well, so was my grandfather. But, hey, what can I say?
So we were talking about anger, and Johnson, you were advocating for it, saying that it has helped you, that you have become motivated to get out to the gym.
Whenever I'm motivated, it's by some sort of negative feeling. I mean, it's not. I'm not generally motivated by positive feelings. Positive feelings make me, because when I'm having fun, I'm generally relaxing.
You're more complacent.
Yeah, I'm much more complacent.
Now, where was this story coming from again? I forgot.
BBC Future.
BBC Future. All right.
So now you can hire a happiness expert. You can undertake training in mindfulness or seek inner satisfaction via an app. The U.S. Army currently trains its soldiers, over 1 million people, in positive psychology, and optimism is taught in UK schools. Meanwhile, the happiness index has become an indicator of national well-being to rival GDP. The truth is, pondering the worst has some clear advantages. Cranks may be superior negotiators, cranky people, more discerning decision makers, and cut their risk of having a heart attack. Cynics can expect more stable marriages.
Wait a minute. Angry people cut their risk of having a heart attack? I thought heart attacks were type A personality people.
Stress, not anger.
Okay.
So I think there's a difference. And grumpy, you don't necessarily have to be angry, rage-filled to be just a grumpy, cynical person.
I gotcha. Yeah, there is a difference there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So cynics can expect more stable marriages, higher earnings, and longer lives, though, of course, they'll anticipate the opposite. Good moods, on the other hand, come with substantial risks, sapping your drive, dimming attention to detail, and making you simultaneously gullible and selfish. Positivity is also known to encourage binge drinking, overeating, and unsafe sex. At the center of it all is our notion that our feelings are adaptive. Anger, sadness, and pessimism aren't divine cruelty or sheer random bad luck. They evolved to serve useful functions and help us thrive. Take anger. From Newton's obsessive grudges to Beethoven's tantrums, which sometimes came to blows, it seems as though visionary geniuses often come with extremely short tempers. There are plenty of examples to be found in Silicon Valley. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is famed for his angry outbursts and insults, such as, "I'm sorry, did I take my stupid pills today?" Yet they haven't stopped him building a $300 billion company.
Well, it's certainly true. We do know people in our own life who were way too nice in running a company and ended up running it into
I
the
believe
ground.
I am married. He's my fiance.
I wasn't going to name names, but
I'm just like, James, next time you decide to run a business, hire me, because I'm just going to be like, look, you're not bringing enough money. We're paying you X, but we're bringing in Y, and right now you're costing us more than you're bringing in. You're fired.
Well, the thing is, he had the technical ability to know how much money should have been coming in or going out, but he wasn't.
Well, he's like, this dude's my friend. I can't say, dude, your life's a mess. You can't show up to work on time.
He was running the business like a charity, essentially, and
and eventually it took all his money,
and then some. The toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE.
Studies now.
We'll talk more.
There's more studies on this.
More to come up here on grumpiness and how it could actually help you, according to Johnson. 855-450-FREE. I don't know if I agree, but we'll dig into it deeper coming up in hour number 2. 855-450-FREE. But then again, if it works for you, who am I to say that it doesn't? It's Free Talk Live. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com. Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is up $4 at $1,344 per ounce. Silver is 3 cents lower at $19.84 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $568 US. At Robertson Roberts Brokerage, we've been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. To see how we can help you, give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, August 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,354 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $575. Antiwar.com reports already facing growing criticism from Sunday's attack on a school in the Sada province. Saudi Arabia appears to have doubled down on its air campaign against the northern part of Yemen, bombing a Doctors Without Borders MSF hospital in the Hajjah province and killing 15 more civilians. MSF confirmed the attack, saying that 3 of their staff members were killed and that 3 foreign doctors volunteering at the hospital were among those wounded. This was the 4th airstrike against a Doctors Without Borders facility in Yemen in the past 12 months. MSF reported that the GPS location of the hospital had been shared with the Saudis and that its location was well known. Despite this, after the hospital was bombed, rescue workers struggled to reach the site as warplanes continued to fly overhead, raising fears of additional strikes. The U.S. State Department expressed concerns about the attack on the hospital, but dismissed reporters' questions about possibly backing down on massive U.S. support for the Saudi air war, suggesting that the U.S. is not going to make this attack a serious deal any more than their concern about the previous Saudi airstrikes and the huge civilian death toll that has resulted. For nearly 40 years, Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports President Obama's administration on Monday transferred more than a dozen detainees at the controversial naval prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to the Middle East as part of the U.S. government's effort to close the facility by the time Obama leaves office. U.S. officials said in their announcement that 15 detainees, 12 from Yemen and 3 from Afghanistan, were transferred on Monday to the United Arab Emirates, an American ally that agreed to receive the inmates. It's the largest single transfer of detainees in Obama's presidency. Administration officials have been been trying to get the UAE to accept the transfer since last year. Officials said all 15 detainees will undergo rehabilitation in the Middle East aimed at de-radicalizing them. Monday's transfer leaves just 61 inmates at the Cuban prison, which opened after 9/11 as a detention facility for suspected terrorist operatives. Since then, though, the prison has stood at the epicenter of numerous controversies, particularly allegations of torture during the Bush administration. Obama pledged to close the prison just days after taking office in 2009, but staunch resistance in Congress had made that prospect very difficult. The president has said he intends to have Guantanamo closed by the time he leaves office on January 20th, 2017. Part of the trouble in closing the prison are congressional restrictions that bar transferring any detainees to U.S. prisons, leaving Obama's administration to search for places overseas willing to accept them. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. Reuters reports North Carolina on Monday asked the U.S. Supreme Court to allow a state law requiring voters to show identification to remain in effect for the November 8th U.S. election, despite an appeals court decision that the measure discriminates against minority voters. Lawyers for Republican Governor Pat McCrory said the status quo should be maintained so close to the election, citing court precedent in their favor. The law, which also limited early voting, was enacted in 2013. The Richmond, Virginia-based 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled on July 29th that the law intentionally discriminated against minority voters. The same court refused to put its decision on hold for the November election. Critics say such laws passed in Republican-dominated states make voting harder for minorities who tend to support Democrats. Supporters of the laws say they are necessary to prevent voter fraud. North Carolina directed its request to Chief Justice John Roberts, who has responsibility for emergency requests arising from the federal appeals court that covers that state. The state is not seeking to restore all provisions of the law that were invalidated, meaning some provisions will not be in effect for the election, whatever the High Court decides. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Markets went into a frenzy today after the price of money suddenly skyrocketed to $90 a dollar. Onion reporters spoke to economics professor Mark Cosgrave about the soaring cost of U.S. currency and the impact of increasingly unpredictable dollar-to-dollar rates.
Right now, money prices are steeply rising with no signs of slowing down. This morning alone, the price of dollars nearly tripled, with 1 cent worth approximately $6. That's exponentially higher than even a week ago when money was trading at roughly $53 on the dollar. To put it bluntly, we're now in the midst of a national economic crisis.
According to Cosgrave, the abrupt spike in dollar prices initially caused many Americans to hold on to their money, hoping that the $90 cost of dollars would soon dip back down. But as prices continued to climb, investors panicked and began purchasing as much money as possible.
But with the cost of quarters hitting $4.97 and the $5 bill jumping to a 12-year high of $372, the days when you could get $30 or $40 for just a couple of bucks are unfortunately long gone.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. Can being a grump actually make your life better? That seems to be the thrust of the story from the BBC Future. And that is what Johnson is sharing with us here tonight. Ian, TJ, and Johnson are in the studio. And, of course, you can join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE or Skype into the show at Skype username LRN.FM. Then coming up, we'll give you the latest on the Robin Hood of Keene trial that is getting ready to head back to the Supreme Court for hopefully the last time, but we'll give you the update on that coming up here in a bit. So, Johnson, just to recap, BBC Future story about being kind of grumpy, not so much anger, but just general cynicism. Right? They're saying that this could be healthy, that you could actually be more successful in the workplace. What were some of the supposed benefits? Living longer?
Yeah, living longer, lower risk of heart attack, higher earnings, a more stable marriage. Yep.
All right.
Yeah, because every time I go to court, I always see these happy people like James and me. We're going in, you're so nice. We never disagree. Let's get divorced. You know, meanwhile, the people who are grumpy and angry, They never in divorce court. I'm just kind of going, Johnson, what are you talking about?
Well,
grumpy people are happier than regular people.
Haven't you ever seen a grumpy couple?
No, yes, and they look miserable.
No.
In fact, I got a grumpy couple that live across the hallway from me. I get to hear their arguments every night. I'm just trying to lay there, honey, I love you so much. You are the most important thing. You're a I can't say all that on the radio. And I'm just going,
all right.
And
Well,
Ian's going, now it's important to share our feelings, Renee.
Continuing on, for years, the link remained a mystery. Then in 2009, Matthias, Mathies?
I don't know.
Mathies Bos from the University of Amsterdam decided to investigate. He recruited a group of willing students to set to work making them angry in the name of science. Half the students were asked to recall something which had irritated them, and the other write a short essay about it. This made them a bit angrier, though they weren't quite driven to full-blown fits of rage, he says. The other half of the group were made to feel sad. Next, the two teams were pitched against each other in a game designed to test their creativity. They had 16 minutes to think of as many ways as possible to improve the education at the psychology department. As Boss expected, the angry team produced more ideas, at least to begin with. Their contributions were also more original, repeated by less than 1% of the study's participants. Crucially, angry volunteers were better at moments of haphazard innovation or so-called unstructured thinking. Let's say you're challenged to think about possible uses for a brick. While a systematic thinker might suggest 10 different kinds of building, it takes a less structured approach to invent a new use altogether, such as turning it into a weapon. In essence, creativity is down to how easily your mind is diverted from one thought path and onto another. In a situation requiring fight or flight, it's easy to see how turning into a literal mad genius could be life-saving.
I could definitely see. I mean, the study you're talking about, they compared angry people with sad people. And clearly, if you're going to compare those two, obviously the angry people are going to be more productive.
Anger is more useful than despair.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, I'm going to go with the happy people, the people who are truly happy.
I agree with you. I think happiness is more important, but they only looked at sad versus angry. So yes, when you're comparing sad versus angry, of course the angry people are going to
I'm
be
just
more
saying
motivated.
Angry versus happy. I think happy's going to win. They're going to trounce all over the anger because I admire.
It'd be interesting to see.
I
don't know
truly
if
angry people.
It's covered in this.
People who can truly hold that anger and keep it up. I mean, that takes a lot of energy to be angry all the time. I get angry occasionally.
Well, it says anger really prepares the body to mobilize resources. It tells you that the situation you're in is bad and gives you an energetic boost to
Something
get you
must
out
be
of it.
done.
Yeah.
Yes.
To understand how this works, first we need to get to grips on what's going on in the brain. Like most emotions, anger begins in the amygdala, an almond-shaped structure responsible for detecting threats to our well-being. It's extremely efficient, raising the alarm long before the peril enters your conscious awareness. Then it's up to chemical signals in the brain to get you riled up. As the brain is with adrenaline, it initiates a burst of impassioned, energetic fury, which lasts for several minutes. Breathing and heart rate accelerate. Blood pressure skyrockets. Blood rushes into the extremities, leading to the distinctive red face and throbbing forehead veins people get when they're annoyed.
Mark's got that.
Though it's thought to have evolved primarily to prepare the body for physical aggression, this physiological response is known to have other benefits, boosting motivation and giving people the gall to take mental risks. All these physiological changes are extremely helpful as long as you get the chance to vent your anger by wrestling a lion or screaming at coworkers. Sure, you might alienate a few people, but afterwards your blood pressure should go back to normal. According to avoiding grumpiness has more serious consequences.
Well, I do tend to agree. You want to, I mean, if you're feeling something, you should feel it. You should feel it for as long as you want to. Now, staying in a place of anger, I don't want to do that. I don't think that benefits you in the long run. I think that you can't avoid being angry at certain times in your life because you don't want to end up like this guy. I mean, you don't want to end up angry every single day.
I refuse to go along with this, and I'm seeing through all your lies, Barack Obama.
It's a global conspiracy.
Wait, have you just seen the DMT?
Friends.
No. Have you heard the
I've
Hitler?
gone Super Saiyan. It's in the water.
Ian, can I make a special song request for the Hitler Took the DMT with Alex Jones?
Not right now.
Okay.
Just, yeah. But hey, look at how successful Alex
He's
Jones
very
is.
successful.
There you go.
Look at Chris Cantwell. I mean, Chris
Sure.
Cantwell's doing great. I mean,
There you
he's
go.
got way more listeners than Free Talk Live does on the internet, at least.
So this is still holding up. So the notion that repressed feelings can be bad for your health is ancient. The Greek philosopher Aristotle was a firm believer in catharsis. He invented the modern meaning of the word. Viewing tragic plays, he conjectured allowing punters to experience anger, sadness, and guilt in a controlled environment. By getting it all out in the open, they could purge themselves of all these feelings in one go. His philosophy was later adopted by Sigmund Freud, who instead championed the cathartic benefits of the therapist's couch. Then, in 2010, a team of scientists decided to take a look. They surveyed a group of 644 patients with coronary artery disease to determine their levels of anger, suppressed anger, and tendency to experience distress, and followed them for between 5 and 10 years to see what happened next.
Wow.
Over the course of the study, 20% experienced major cardiac event, and 9% died. Initially, it looked like both anger and suppressed anger increased the likelihood of having a heart attack. But after controlling for other factors, the researchers realized anger had no impact, while suppressing it increases the chances of having a heart attack by nearly threefold. It's
interesting.
It's not known exactly why this occurs, but other studies have shown that suppressing anger can lead to chronic high blood pressure. Not all benefits are physical. Anger can help with negotiating, too. A major flashpoint for aggression is the discovery that someone does not value your interests highly enough. It involves inflicting costs, the threat of physical violence, and withdrawing benefits, loyalty, friendship, or money to help them see their mistake. Support for this theory comes from the faces we pull when angry. Research suggests that they aren't arbitrary movements at all, but specifically aimed at increasing our physical strength in the eyes of our opponent. Get it right, and aggression can help you advance your interests and increase your status. It's just an ancient way of bargaining. In fact, scientists are increasingly recognizing that grumpiness may be to the full range of social skills, improving language skills, memory, and making us more persuasive.
Improving, what was it? Social skills?
It says scientists are increasingly recognizing that grumpiness may be beneficial to the full range of social skills, improving language skills, memory, and making us more persuasive.
Yeah, but do people really want to spend that much time socializing with grumpy people?
I think people need to have the full range of emotions, and being grumpy sometimes is very important to that.
Sometimes,
and yes,
sure.
I would think that a lot of people like to be around Mark.
I think, well,
who you accused of being grumpy and having angry face earlier.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah. So, you know.
I wish I could play my ringtone right now, because you know that whole tirade is my ringtone, right?
Yeah, you mean when Mark got really angry?
Yes, and I put in the background effects with the brap, brap, brap.
You know, and Mark has his grumpy times. And
well, yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's different to be.
You have to have the full range of.
I agree.
Emotions.
It's different to be grumpy here and there, but to constantly be.
I'm grumpy all the time. People generally like me because while I'm grumpy on the inside, I portray humor when I want to.
Okay, well, that's different than somebody who's bringing down every conversation.
No. This is about people who have that negative emotion all the time, driving.
Hold on. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. It's Free Talk Live.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. Like 60% of you, I'm not impressed by the two-party system. It's a dinosaur. It's outmoded and no longer reflects today's America. Two-party politics doesn't work, and it hasn't worked for anybody but itself in decades. If we the people are wise, we will never again elect another president from within the entrenched, corrupt, co-opted two-party system. The office of president should serve the needs of everyone equally with respect and with fairness. I did it as governor, I'll do it as president. Google me. 60% of you have said you want another choice in 2016, and now you have one in me. We the people have a chance to do something in 2016 that may not come around again in our lifetimes. We have a legitimate chance to elect one of our own to the highest office in the land. Give me your vote one time and see what a difference one election can make.
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Technically, I wasn't invited to this wedding, but you can stroll into any event with a camera and people will assume you're the photographer. This bag's holding more than cameras. It's also got an RFID scanner that's picking up all your personal information. Debit cards, credit cards, even that key to your office. So while the bride's taking his last name, I'll be taking yours. Say cheese!
Do you have a stronghold on your identity? ID Stronghold pioneered RFID blocking technology over a decade ago. For about the same price as an unprotected wallet, you can get a stronghold on your credit cards, license, and other critical data with ID Stronghold wallets, card sleeves, and purses. Other RFID blocking technology simply isn't the same. Check the label. If it's not an ID Stronghold, it's probably weak.
I'm Walt Augustinowicz, founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. Protect yourself from crimes you can't see with ID Stronghold wallets in bifold, trifold, and the popular mini style.
Get the original RFID blocking wallet. IDstronghold.com.
Free Talk Live, the show where anyone can call about whatever they want. And we do mean anyone.
The first point is it's legal, and that's important. Now, my question to you would be, they gassed Jews legally in Germany. Was that a good law?
Well, I don't know. I don't live in Germany.
Come on.
You don't know?
You don't know whether it was a good idea to gas Jews. You don't know whether it was a good idea to incarcerate Japanese Americans during World War II.
What does that have to do with them crossing the borders of the United States of America?
I'm making a point, and I'm drawing a parallel, and it's a clear parallel, and you're dodging it. Do good people disobey bad laws, Buck?
No.
Good people do not disobey bad laws?
Criminals dodge the law.
Buck, wait a second. What if they outlawed guns in your state? Would you turn yours in, Buck?
Oh, absolutely, in a minute.
You would? Well, I'm sorry. You're a fascist. Bye.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and we're talking about being grumpy and the potential benefits, apparently, of that. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, you can share your thoughts on this or whatever happens to be on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Liberland is the European micronation. It's had its recognition proposed by 7 Polish legislators. The folks behind Liberland are pushing hard to get recognition from other countries because it makes a big difference if you can actually accomplish that on the world stage. The Chicago Journal of International Laws released a 35-page essay that makes the case for statehood for Liberland. What is it? Well, it's a 3-square-mile swamp, basically, in between Serbia and Croatia that neither country claim as their own. So they sank a flag in and called it Liberland. Roger Ver, the owner of Bitcoin.com, has stated his financial support for Liberland, and it's been said the base of the economy there is Bitcoin. Nearly 500,000 people have registered on their website, with more than 100,000 requesting citizenship. But Liberland's a small place, so probably not all 100,000 are going to get in. You've got to substantially contribute to the growth of Liberland if you want to get your citizenship. So go to learn more at liberland.org, Liberland, liberland.org. So, Johnson, you're sharing with us the benefits, and they, according to the story at the BBC Future, they are saying there's quite a few benefits, possibly, of being grumpy.
Yep. Negative moods indicate we're in a new and challenging situation and call for a more attentive, detailed, and observant thinking style, says Joseph Forgas, who has been studying how emotions affect our behavior for nearly 4 decades. In line with this, research has also found that feeling slightly down enhances our awareness of social cues. Intriguingly, it also encourages people to act in a more, not less, fair way towards others. Harsh but fair. Though happiness is often thought of as intrinsically virtuous, the emotion brings no such benefits. In one study, a group of volunteers was made to feel disgusted, sad, angry, fearful, happy, surprised, or neutral, and invited to play the ultimatum game. In the game, the first player is given some money and asked how they'd like to divide it between themselves and another player. Then the second player gets to decide whether or not to accept. If they agree, the money is split how the first player proposed. If not, neither player gets any money. Happier participants keep more of the prize for themselves, while those in a sad mood are significantly less selfish. The ultimatum game is used as a test of our sense of fairness by showing whether you expect to get a 50-50 share or whether you are happy for each person to be in it for themselves. Interestingly, all negative emotions led to more rejections by the second player, which might suggest that these feelings enhance our sense of fairness and the need for everyone to be treated equally. Reversing the setup reveals that this is not a case of sour grapes either. The dictator game has exactly the same rules, except this time the second player has no say whatsoever. They simply receive whatever the first player decides not to keep. It turns out that the happier participants keep more of the prize for themselves, while those in a sad mood are significantly less selfish.
Interesting.
People who are feeling slightly down pay better attention to external social norms and expectations, and so they act in a fairer and just way towards others.
Or maybe the sad people just don't care. And they're
Maybe.
like, here, take it all.
Maybe.
I don't want to live anymore.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
In some situations, happiness carries far more serious risks. It's associated with the cuddle hormone, oxytocin, which a handful of studies have shown reduces our ability to identify threats.
That's true. You're not exactly, if you're cuddling, you're not exactly on the lookout for some sort of beast to jump out at you.
In prehistoric times, happiness would have left our ancestors vulnerable to predators. In modern life, it prevents us paying attention to the dangers such as binge drinking, overeating, and unsafe sex. Happiness functions like a shorthand signal that we're safe, and it's not necessary to pay too much attention to the environment, he says. Those in a continuous happy haze may miss important cues. Instead, they may be over-reliant on the existing knowledge, leaving them prone to serious errors of judgment. Those in a good mood were less able to think skeptically and were significantly more gullible. In one study, Forgas and colleagues from the University of
Hold that thought. TJ?
Sure.
Yes. I was just going to I'm just going, oh, well, said the guy, because I'm like, I don't see too many happy people in the psych ward. Like, usually when people wake up and they've just tried to kill themselves and they've tried it really hard and they all are showing you the slashes and gash marks, usually they're not that happy. So I've never.
But that's you're selecting. That's a pre-selection for people who are in the psych ward, as opposed to people who are unhappy and functioning.
Yeah,
I mean, you
that's
pre-selected a group of non-functioning people. That's
I know, but I've just most of the non-functioning people tend to be very, very unhappy.
Well, yeah, but that's.
And I'm saying, like, you're a functioning
correlation is not causation.
Correct.
And that's a really good example of correlation not being causation, because the amount of people who are in the psych ward is a very, very small percentage of the population.
Yes, it's a very select group of which I'm a member.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some of the nicest people you'll meet will be there, but it's a wonderful experience.
And if they're all pretty much unhappy, which ones are going to be getting out? Probably the ones that are unhappy with their situation are going to do something about it. If they're happy and they're in the psych ward, they're probably not going anywhere anytime soon. So, in one study, Forgas and colleagues from the University of New South Wales, Australia, put volunteers in either happy or a sad mood by screening films in a laboratory. He asked them to judge the truth of urban myths, such as that power lines cause leukemia or that the CIA murdered President Kennedy. Those in a good mood were less able to think skeptically and were significantly more gullible.
More likely to accept the myth is true. Okay.
Next, Forgas used a first-person shooter game to test, I wonder which one, to test if good moods might also lead people to rely on stereotyping. As he predicted, those in a good mood were more likely to aim at targets wearing turbans. I shouldn't be laughing. Oh, that's horrible. But he predicted, apparently, that they're going to be, that happy people, or people who are generally just happy, are obviously, I guess, they're more susceptible to just going along with stereotypes.
Being told what to do, or whatever.
They're probably more go with the crowd kind of people, I guess.
Could be.
What they're saying.
Okay.
Of all the positive emotions, optimism about the future may have the most ironic effects. Like happiness, positive fantasies about the future can be profoundly demotivating. People feel accomplished, they relax, they do not invest the necessary effort to actually realize these positive fantasies and daydreams, says Gabrielle Oettingen from New York University. Graduates who fantasize about success at work and end up earning less, for instance. Patients who daydream about getting better make a slower recovery. In numerous studies, Oettingen has shown that the more wishful you're thinking, the less likely any of it is to come true. People say, dream it and you will get it. But that's problematic, she says. Optimistic thoughts may also put the obese off losing weight and make smokers less likely to plan to quit.
Well, I don't know about the claim that somebody who's a patient is going to heal slower if they're optimistic about it. I mean, there's a reason why, like,
they don't make they probably make worse health choices. They probably don't change their bandages as often. They probably don't.
Maybe, but I mean, there's a reason why. Like,
my wound's going to get infected. I better clean this all the time.
Emergency medical technicians are trained to not say things like, "My God, he's not going to make it," because even if you're like passed out, the suggestion that you won't make it might actually make it more likely that you don't make it. Whereas suggestions like "you're going to make it, it's going to be okay," actually can help people pull through something. So, I mean, it's interesting what you're sharing here. We can continue, and you can share your thoughts. I mean, is Johnson onto something here, or do you feel like you benefit from being grumpy about things or possibly angry? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Can your vitamin supplements positively affect your blood in 5 minutes? Protovite can. Protovite is a genuine breakthrough liquid daily nutrition that delivers quality ingredients into your blood in less than 5 minutes. Scientifically proven and backed by clinical studies, Protovite supports energy, vitality, and optimal health. Watch our 2-minute live blood cell video and see for yourself at vninc.com/prohealth. That's vninc.com/prohealth.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video or audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make
Wait
now.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com. Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty and peace around the globe worth 15 cents per day to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. Last year, we did a fundraiser that successfully covered the costs of continuing our African channel. This year, we're hoping to raise enough to fund a new satellite signal that will cover Europe, North Africa, and much of the Middle East. You can donate as much or as little as you like via the Indiegogo campaign at fund.lrn.fm. And there are perks available like sitting in on your favorite LRN.FM show, exclusive shiny badges, or even naming a satellite channel. Please contribute now at fund.lrn.fm and help us continue our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. The fundraiser ends August 19th, so please visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. We also, you can join us online, get interactive over at freetalklive.com. You can actually submit content right there to the front page of the website. It is a Reddit-based site, so that means you can vote on what you see there. If you like something, vote it up. If you don't, you may either ignore it or vote it down. It is up to you, and you get to create the content on the front page over at freetalklive.com. Tonight, are you sleeping on a MyPillow? Well, I am. You can get yours from mypillow.com. It does a great job of kind of fitting to the shape of your body and holding your neck in the proper position because in many cases, chronic headaches, neck, and even back pain can be solved with just the right pillow. And if you use code FTL over at mypillow.com, you'll get either one pillow at half off or two for the price of one, your choice. mypillow.com, code FTL. By the way, there's a 60-day money-back guarantee. If you don't think MyPillow is the best pillow you've ever used, no problem. You can send it back to them.
Wow, that just pushed me over the fence.
I mean,
I was sitting there thinking like, I felt the pillow, but I'm like, because you came down and showed me the pillow like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting, but I don't know what it would be like to sleep with this pillow. Like I'm like, it feels nice, but I don't know. Like it's got kind of a strange feel to it.
It's different.
It's definitely a different feel, but I'm like, I kind of like it because I'm a feather pillow sleeper. I love feather pillows. Okay. I like the really soft, squishy.
Goose down
and this
type.
pillow has the squishiness to it, but I also have some memory foam pillows, and I gotta say, I don't like them because the exact thing that these people say about memory foam pillows is absolutely true. It raises your neck too high, and I get a stiff neck when I use the memory foam pillow. It's awful. So, I mean, I'll use the memory foam pillow sometimes to hug it like a body pillow. That's nice, but it absorbs heat and then radiates heat, so it's like crazy.
No good.
So this thing is cool.
It's worth a try. There's a 60-day
money-back guarantee is like, okay, I guess I'm going to do that now.
So there's also a warranty on the pillow for 10 years as well. So, I mean, it's good, good construction as well. And you can wash and dry it. Can you do that with your current pillow? Odds are no. I've never seen a pillow that allows you to stick it in the washing machine and then the dryer. You can do that with this.
Well, I may be reporting back in the near future.
All right, good. We'll see what you think about it. MyPillow.com, code FTL. You got to use the code to get the deal. And if you do use the code, it basically brings it down to the same price that you'd pay at Walmart. So the difference is we get credit for it when you buy it through MyPillow.com with code FTL. So let's continue here. You've got a little bit more to this story, which is making a strong case to be grumpy a lot.
Yep.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
defensive pessimism is what they're going to talk about now. Is defensive pessimism. Perhaps most worryingly, Ottingen believes that the risks may operate on a societal level too. When she compared articles in the newspaper USA Today with economic performance a week or a month later, she found that the more optimistic the content, the more performance declined. Next, she looked at presidential inaugural addresses and found that the more positive speeches predicted a lower employment rate and a GDP during their time in office. Combine these unnerving findings with optimism bias, the tendency to believe that you're less at risk of things going wrong than other people, and you're asking for trouble. Instead, you might want to consider throwing away your rose-tinted spectacles and adopting a glass half-empty outlook. Defensive pessimism involves employing Murphy's Law, the cosmic inevitability that whatever can go wrong will go wrong. By anticipating the worst, you can be prepared when it actually happens. It's like preppers.
Well, I mean, it's a tough balance
I'm sure that
to
there
strike.
are a bunch of GCN listeners right now going, yeah, I'm a prepper.
Well,
I know all about this.
I think it's a tough balance to strike. I mean, there's a difference between believing that everything is going to go wrong and preparing for that eternally to the point of obsession, to understanding that things can and will go wrong and just sort of being mentally prepared for it, if not somewhat prepared through, food or whatever in your basement.
6 years of food is about right.
there's a fine line between caution and preparation versus obsession.
Right.
And further, on the other side of it, there's this eternal optimism to believe that if you're just constantly positive, nothing bad will happen. That's, I don't know if you want to call that Pollyanna syndrome or something like that, but that's dangerous too, because then you're caught blindsided when things do go wrong. But there's also another kind of
40 pounds of ammo, you're not ready.
There's also another kind of positivity that is not the full-on nothing could happen to me that's wrong. That's not what kind of optimism I would recommend. I would recommend the understanding that when things when things that are bad happen to you, that there's usually some sort of way that you can grow from that. That you may not know it in the moment, but being able to look back on it later on, hindsight being 20/20, you might be able to see, oh yeah, well, I'm glad that terrible thing occurred because it allowed these new flowers or these new thoughts or whatever to grow from it. Creative destruction, if you will.
Keep it running. Keep the pessimism running, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I know that's how you're
concerned. Keep growing and just take what little joy you can from whatever you get.
Every time someone proposes using violence against the state, I just kind of giggle and chuckle, because this whole thing, as I've been talking about.
I didn't propose using violence.
No,
against
I know you
the
didn't.
state.
I'm talking about the hypothetical. The people who are like, what we should do? We should get a bunch of guns and prepare for the government.
I'm like, but I was talking about an SHTF situation.
Yeah, you might need to shoot a deer.
You need to protect yourself and hunt.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, the thing about people who take arms against the government, I'm like, madam or sir, have you ever seen the Navy SEALs train? And James, he said, no, let me show you. We're going to stack 18 into a porta-john, and notice how they sweeping for the tripwire, and there's no laughing. They all go in, and he's going to, now when they come out, they're going to go dunk, 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 and he'll exactly, and it comes out, it's like watching a ballet.
They put 18 Navy SEALs into a porta-potty?
Yes. They go, it's like, okay, sweep, clear, boom, check for tripwires, boom, boom, bounce down the line. And they do that, and then they come out once they're all in the porta-john. They all come out.
How the hell do you fit 18 people into a porta-potty?
Any way you can.
Simultaneously.
Yes, all simultaneously. You're either all getting in there, or you're getting back in that 35-degree water.
Now, are they? So they're going down into the sewage area? Of
no,
it too?
It's a porta-john. Like, just look up Navy SEALs porta-john.
Okay, I'm thinking of porta-potty. Is this a different thing?
No, it's a green porta-john, just like a construction
porta-john. I'm
going
to have to look this one up.
Just type in Navy SEAL porta-john, or Army military porta-john booby trap training. But when you actually watch those Navy SEALs in that 35-degree water, and you're saying, look, we're keeping going, or you're ringing that bell 3 times and quitting. You're either dead or you're going to make it through. There's only 2 options for these people. And when you see what that kind of terror, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, that's why the Marines have the expression, embrace the suck.
Yep, the only easy day was yesterday. Pain is just the weakness leaving the body. But I'm like, those are great things to say. But let me tell you, you know how cold 35-degree water is? Let me tell you, there's nothing that can prepare you mentally. I've tried taking cold showers with James, and we wanted to do this Buds training to see who's going to ring the bell first, because neither of us are physically ready to be SEALs. But I think I'm more ready than James is, because, hey.
I think you guys should box it out.
We've actually got it lined up. Yes, we actually.
You going to go to a boxing match?
Well, there was our hand-to-hand combat training. So,
okay.
He's a green, whatever the green. He's the second level in whatever the Army hand-to-hand combat training level is. So he said, "Oh well, if you want to learn to be choked out, anytime you want to go in the ring." And I'm like, "Well, you throw down the challenge. I can't say no to that."
All right, Johnson.
Well, there's only a tiny little bit here left. It works like this. Let's say you're giving a talk at work. All you have to do is think of the worst possible outcomes. Tripping up on your way to the stage, losing the memory stick which contains your slides, computer difficulties, awkward situations. Truly accomplished pessimists will be able to think of many, many more. And Hold them in your mind. Next, you need to think of some solutions. Psychologist Julie Norham from Wellesley College, Massachusetts, is an expert pessimist. I'm a little clumsy, especially when I'm anxious, so I make sure to wear low-heeled shoes. I get there early to scope out the stage to make sure that there aren't cords or other things to trip over. I typically have several backups for my slides. I can give the talk without any of them if necessary. I email a copy to the organizers, carry a copy on a flash drive, and bring my own laptop to use, she says. Only the paranoid survive, as they say. So the next time someone tells you to cheer up, why not tell them how you're improving your sense of fairness, reducing your unemployment, and saving the world economy? You'll be having the last laugh, even if it is a world-weary, cynical snort.
Well, I do agree that if you're going to be pessimistic, it's better to use it for the preparation's sake rather than just continually
Preparation and improvement.
Rather than continually playing over and over in your mind all the things that could go wrong and doing nothing about it. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. We can talk more about pessimism versus optimism. Johnson says the statistics are on his side on this. It's Free Talk Live.
They wake me up every morning. Their tails are always wagging. They're just running constantly and chasing, shadows and sticks. Their coats are much better. They're very happy dogs. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy. DINOVITE.com. I have 3 dogs, golden retrievers, and I make their own food, ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dinovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops. It takes a few minutes every week. Before the Dinovite, they were overweight. They slept all the time, so now they jump all over me when I'm putting it in their bowls. They're crazy about this food, and their vet said that it's so much healthier for them. Go check out Rescue Dogs. They're just waiting to be loved. Get them started on this Dinovite diet, the health food for animals, and you'll see amazing results.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Injury Help Desk is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention prescription antibiotic drug users. Have you or a loved one suffered an aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm after taking the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox? These popular antibiotic drugs have been prescribed more than 80 million times since 2004, and medical studies show an increased risk of the following injuries: aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, and abdominal aortic aneurysm. If you or a loved one used the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox and suffered from aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851.
FoodForLiberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Maximus scavenged through a wasteland swarming with the undead.
Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Join us on the radio here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype, and the Skype username is lrn.fm. Tonight in studio, you've got me, Ian.
TJ the Spy.
And Johnson.
And, of course, you can bring up whatever you want. We're going to talk, I think, a little bit more about negativity versus positivity here in a few moments. Also, want to let you know how to get 500 business cards starting at just $9.99. You have to use our promo code when you check out at Vistaprint.com. Promo code is FTL. That gets you the special deal. And it's super easy to personalize your business cards over at Vistaprint. You can customize the text, colors, backsides, and more. They've got thousands of industry-specific templates. You can upload your existing logo to one of their designs, or you can upload your entire design, which is what I did with the Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree cards that I made. You can also upgrade the quality of the card. Now, obviously, you got to pay more for things like spot gloss, raised print, metallic stock, and the thicker stock as well. All of those things are available to you. Vistaprint.com. Again, starting price just $9.99. When you use code FTL, you get 500 business cards for that price. Code FTL, like Free Talk Live, at Vistaprint.com. And they guarantee you'll love your products every time, or they'll make it right. And they've got amazing customer service. Go ahead and try it out. Vistaprint.com. Use code FTL to get the deal. So, Johnson, you just went through a pretty detailed story from the BBC, basically saying that people who are grumpy are going to live longer. They actually are going to be more successful. I didn't take notes of all of the things, the benefits that, I mean, but it was this long list of supposed benefits as compared to people who are positive people. And at the very end, you talked about defensive pessimism, where people will think about things that could go wrong. Like one lady was giving an example,
being more prepared
of a speech that she had to give, or something like that. Thinking about what might happen on the way up to give the speech or during the speech, and to prepare themselves for potentials of failure. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all, to be concerned and cautious and think about future possibilities and prepare for them. And I think that, again, it depends on what the negativity does to you, I guess.
Well, remember, we're talking specifically about grumpy negativity, which implies there's a little edge of anger in there rather than just depression and
being
sadness.
sad.
That's useless.
Okay.
That's just you're a lump of stupid.
Right. So
anger implies there's a motivation there. There's a drive. So, being grumpy is like, there's a pessimism, but it's not a depression. It's a pessimism. It's a cynicalness.
I don't personally want to stay in those places, but if that's something that drives you, I think that, God bless you, whatever it is that works for you, if that's what works, then that's great. I would say.
My big issue is when people are feeling angry and they're saying, dude, I don't want to be angry. I want to be happy. Most people, when you ask them, what do you want to be? They say, well, I want to be happy. I don't want to be sad or angry or any of these other. They want to be whatever. And I'm saying, well, okay, if someone truly says, no, I want to be angry. I don't want you to be happy just because that's what society wants. I want you to be angry because that's what works for you and you like being in that emotional state. I personally think it's awful. And there's a lot of emotional states I'd rather be in, and I take a lot of very powerful psychotropic drugs to make sure I'm in them. So people always look at me, how are you so positive? I'm like, well, it's called haloperidol and fluoxetine or Prozac, and there's antidepressants, and they have all kinds of nasty side effects. Yes, don't have to tell me what they are, but I take them because, you would not like the sober TJ. I am a fluoxetine addict. I cannot function without it. No, truly cannot function. You would not recognize what I become. And, and if you don't doubt that, I have a whole 300-page psych eval done by the federal government that'll tell you exactly what comes, when someone, goes off the rails. And you know what? It's okay. Every now and again, they get, girlfriend leaves them, lose their house, lose their job. Something happens. Dad dies, girlfriend dies. and they just fall off the wagon. You know what? There's no shame in that. What's a shame is the people who then just quit on life and they don't get back on.
That's true.
Because your biggest screw-ups, I hope your biggest screw-ups are yet to come, because those are the wonderful things that you'll be telling yourself when you're 80. Nobody ever talks about, you know what? Nobody ever wants to talk about how all my successes. They love to hear about my screw-ups. They love to hear about the psych ward, or how bad, this disaster, this divorce, this arrest. Those are the funny stories that make up the comedy of life at the end of life. I mean, they don't seem very funny. Let me say, it wasn't very funny getting raided by the FBI, but it's kind of funny now, because it's like, well, we got video of the whole thing.
No, you didn't. You didn't get video of the whole thing. You got video of the very beginning.
Yeah. And
there was surveillance video of people kind of coming and going from the house. But besides that, there wasn't much video.
But we need to make sure next time if they
the video has yet to be released, so it's not nice to tease people about video that you have that you don't intend to release.
Okay, you want me to release the naked video of me talking
absolutely.
naked, calmly and rationally to the agent, and they're all standing there, would you like to get on some clothes? And I'm like, well, yes, I'd love to, but unfortunately, under the Terry doctrine, if I go back into my room...
a feature now to blur.
Okay.
Do they really?
Yeah. It's
well, the video
in.
is low resolution. I don't think that's necessary, but hey,
yeah,
I'll always blur
it's pretty
out the
blurry as is, just because of the nature of the camera.
And you know what's funny? People talk about preparation. Well, I was always saying, you need always like, FBI's coming through the door right now. What do you do? And people would always get mad at me because every time I'd come over to the slap or whatever, I would say, okay, the FBI's coming through the door. What do you do right now? And someone was like, don't ever joke about that. I said, well, it may be a joke now, but what if they actually come to that door? What are you going to do? I don't want you falling apart on me. And guess what? One day they actually did come.
There's nothing wrong with being prepared. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But what the problem is, if you're worried so much that you worry yourself into inaction and fear, right? And then you're just in this place, like you were saying, it's useless to be sad all the time.
Right.
And that's
sad. That's not angry. There's not, worry is, worry with anger. That's where grump comes from.
You know how all parents do fire drills and tornado drills? I would add search warrant drill to that, because what if the police get the wrong house? They come in, they flash bang your living room. It could happen. Are you ready? Do you know what to do if someone throws a flash bang and there's like 10 armed dudes in level 4 tactical body armor with AR-15s coming through your living room saying, police, get your hands up? I hope that you're just going to take it on faith that they probably are real police with the real search warrant, that they got the wrong house.
What else can you do?
Well, some people in their sleepy state think, oh, goodness, we're being robbed, and they grab a gun and they get shot and killed.
Right.
Because the cops got the wrong house, or because something... That's why no knock. I don't like to see the SWAT team. There's a use for it. And the problem with the SWAT team is once it was created, there was going to be there's very few barricaded hostage situations. There are very few actually dangerous situations where you would need the SWAT team.
Right. They trotted out for most drug raids.
Most criminals, when you just surround them and say, all right, come out. And, if they have a history of violence, that's why they try to take you by surprise. There's a reason they come at 6 a.m. You're probably asleep. I mean, the two of us were awake, and thank goodness we were, so we could wake up the rest of the house and say, yeah, the FBI's knocking at the front door, and it looks like they're pretty mad. And so you go down there all groggy. You're like, go away. And I'm like, Ian, that is not going to work on them. Meanwhile, I'm upstairs doing my thing, executing whatever plans I need to be. It's like, okay, camera in place. We're filming. I'm naked. I'm ready to go. Showtime. And I'm just sitting there quietly and calmly. And I just wish I could have recorded more of our conversation. It would have been delightful performance art.
You weren't angry during that encounter.
No,
though.
Of course not. I was delightfully amused. I said, thank God it's child porn. That's the one thing I'm not guilty of. I might be guilty of many things in life, God, but that is not one of them. So I said, oh, if that's all you're here for, by all means, I am just relaxed and calm. And they're just going, what we like to do to kitty diddlers in prison. And I'm like, The thoughts cross my mind. I know exactly what to say. And I'm like, dude, explain to me. Your job is threatening other dudes with rape. If that's like your job description is like, hey, dude, you're going to be raped. And you know it because you diddled kitties. And I know it. And I'm going to try and get you to confess. I'm like, that's your job? That sounds awful. Every day trying to manipulate people who are, it's like, well, what if Ian's actually innocent? You realize you're now have awoken an innocent man, taken all of our stuff.
They don't care.
And of course they don't, because, they don't really care about you, Ian. Honestly, you're a very low priority case, and they're going to quickly, in about 4 years, which is quickly for the FBI, figure out you're innocent, and they'll give you your computer equipment back, by which time it'll be outdated. But that's how the system works. And I wish I could tell you there was something I could do. I wish I could snap my fingers and say, hey, Jim Comey, this is a bunch of BS. You know it. either say he's guilty and prove it in a court of law. None of this back and forth and forensic examination and all. Someone's either guilty or not. Why? And so I don't see why so many times someone will commit a crime. 5-10 years later, they're going to court over it.
So somebody who has the this optimistic, Pollyanna syndrome or whatever would think that they could never be rated or whatever because they're always being positive. Well, again, negative things do happen in life, and they're inevitably going to happen because if they didn't, you wouldn't have ups and downs. You could be happy all the time if negative things didn't, occur.
I just thought, am I doing something wrong in life where I'm actually thinking, yeah, this is pretty reasonable. We need to prepare in case the police show up and go, knock, 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 search warrant. How do we handle it? And I always thought, this is kind of a weird thing. I can't imagine explaining this to Mom. Like, she'd be like, what kind of friends are you hanging around where you have to worry about the cops showing up?
Well, that's what you're saying, though. You don't know. I mean, they could get the wrong address.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing something wrong or
the
not.
right address with an incorrect warrant or a right address with an invalid search warrant.
The toll-free number tonight is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. There's sometimes where grumpiness just doesn't apply very well, and that's if you are doing Robin Hooding. We'll tell you about it coming up.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, August 16th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,354 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $575. Antiwar.com reports already facing growing criticism from Sunday's attack on a school in the Sada province. Saudi Arabia appears to have doubled down on its air campaign against the northern part of Yemen, bombing a Doctors Without Borders MSF hospital in the Hajjah province and killing 15 more civilians. MSF confirmed the attack, saying that 3 of their staff members were killed and that 3 foreign doctors volunteering at the hospital were among those wounded. This was the 4th airstrike against a Doctors Without Borders facility in Yemen in the past 12 months. MSF reported that the GPS location of the hospital had been shared with the Saudis and that its location was well known. Despite this, after the hospital was bombed, rescue workers struggled to reach the site as warplanes continued to fly overhead, raising fears of additional strikes. The U.S. State Department expressed concerns about the attack on the hospital, but dismissed reporters' questions about possibly backing down on massive U.S. support for the Saudi air war, suggesting that the U.S. is not going to make this attack a serious deal any more than their concern about the previous Saudi airstrikes and the huge civilian death toll that has resulted. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports President Obama's administration on Monday transferred more than a dozen detainees at the controversial naval prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, to the Middle East as part of the U.S. government's effort to close the facility by the time Obama leaves office. U.S. officials said in their announcement that 15 detainees, 12 from Yemen and 3 from Afghanistan, were transferred on Monday to the United Arab Emirates, an American ally that agreed to receive the inmates. It's the largest single transfer of detainees in Obama's presidency. Administration officials have been trying to get the UAE to accept the transfer since last year. Officials said all 15 detainees will undergo rehabilitation in the Middle East aimed at de-radicalizing them. Monday's transfer leaves just 61 inmates at the Cuban prison, which opened after 9/11 as a detention facility for suspected terrorist operatives. Since then, though, the prison has stood at the epicenter of numerous controversies, particularly allegations of torture during the Bush administration. Obama pledged to close the prison just days after taking office in 2009, but staunch resistance in Congress had made that prospect very difficult. The president has said he intends to have Guantanamo closed by the time he leaves office on January 20th, 2017. Part of the trouble in closing the prison are congressional restrictions that bar transferring any detainees to U.S. prisons, leaving Obama's administration to search for places overseas willing to accept them. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. That's shop.fppradio.com. Reuters reports North Carolina on Monday asked the U.S. Supreme Court to allow a state law requiring voters to show identification to remain in effect for the November 8th U.S. election, despite an appeals court decision that the measure discriminates against minority voters. Lawyers for Republican Governor Pat McCrory said the status quo should be maintained so close to the election, citing court precedent in their favor. The law, which also limited early voting, was enacted in 2013. The Richmond, Virginia-based 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled on July 29th that the law intentionally discriminated against minority voters. The same court refused to put its decision on hold for the November election. Critics say such laws passed in Republican-dominated states make voting harder for minorities who tend to support Democrats. Supporters of the laws say they are necessary to prevent voter fraud. North Carolina directed its request to Chief Justice John Roberts, who has responsibility for emergency requests arising from the federal appeals court that covers that state. The state is not seeking to restore all provisions of the law that were invalidated, meaning some provisions will not be in effect for the election, whatever the High Court decides. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A man thanks God he's not sexually attracted to children, and Popeye's home is burglarized. Week in and week out, you come back like a housebroken Pomeranian, loyal to the bitter end. Good boy. This is the Onion Week in Review. Georgia's Cobb County Evangelical Hospital held its 5th annual Walk to Cure Gayness today, reportedly drawing thousands of participants to raise funds that would cure sufferers of their homosexuality and make gayness a thing of the past. Hospital administrators told reporters that funding from the walk would go into providing new state-of-the-art gayness treatment equipment, along with remodeling the hospital's physical therapy center, which has spent nearly 14 years reteaching gay men how to walk properly.
Oh God, I was a goner. But as you can see, I'm now happily married to a woman, and as of next month, I will have been in full remission for 2 whole years. I'm just so very, very happy. Everything's really good in my life.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, launching into the 3rd hour of the program. And you can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We talked a lot about pessimism and sort of negativity, grumpiness, anger, and some of the supposed benefits that Johnson says that you can get if you are in those places. I say, whatever it is that works best for you. If you like being angry, if you like feeling grumpy, if you believe that those things are helping you, then stay in those places for as long as they benefit you. But if at some point you think they are not benefiting you, then you can always shift your perspective to a more positive one. And I'm sure if I wanted to, Johnson, I could probably find studies that find things that positive outlooks will give you X, Y, and Z. I just haven't taken the time to do that. So,
and you probably won't because you're not motivated because you're not angry.
Well, that's true. You're right. It did make me angry what you said.
If you were angry, you'd be like, I'm going to go do this.
That darn Johnson.
You'd actually get it done, but you won't because you're
Ian
just
actually,
like,
no, wait, hold on. I have to cry BS here because Ian, I actually measure my productivity in Ians. So usually I'll be like, today is a 0.1 Ian day. I'm doing only 10% of the activism he is. I'm just watching this dude operate 8 hours a day. He's not getting paid any money to do this, but he's just literally reading and writing and reading and writing.
From the old days.
And it's just exhausting to watch.
Yeah, but I know Ian from the old days. His activism did not begin because of his love for the government.
No, that's true. But
government doesn't make him feel happy and shiny on the inside.
Well, it didn't make me happy. So I had a good friend. I'm trying to help him get reintegrated into society. So he had a little setback and did his time, and he's made whole with society again. But he didn't have a driver's license, and so I'm like, well, sir, why don't you have a driver's license? You're 26 and you need to be driving. I mean, and so it's like, well, I have a ticket that I haven't taken care of. And I'm like, well, here's the difference between a boy and a man. Man fixes his own problems, and you created the problem by driving without a license. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying if you want to be a man, we're going to fix the problem. We're not going to sit here and complain about it, because that's one thing I don't do. If you can't fix the problem, then stop complaining about it. So I said, we're going to go down to the Keene District Court, and we gave him $50 to get a green piece of paper called a certificate of default clearance. So what had happened was he had been, issued to show up at this date. He didn't show up. And so there was a warrant for his arrest that was never entered into the system. So every time he got pulled over or every time he got his ID checked, no warrant came back. But there was a warrant by the court. It just wasn't popping on their computer system.
So wait, if that's what a man does, what does a woman do? Go to court and cry?
Oh, goodness. And you wonder why you're single, Johnson.
You were the one who said it to be a man. You were the one who was
I was okay to be an adult. How about this? Children need adults. Adults take care of themselves. Sir. Children need adults to take care of them. And so I said, and it was really interesting why. So here you have a grown man, very physically fit, obviously very tough, but it was all mental. He was every time he's been down to the courthouse, it's because he's been in handcuffs or for something, some arrest. And so for him, it was a lot of anxiety, literally going through. And here I am in my trip rave pants. So I'm coming in dressed like a raver, and I'm hungover or high, whatever drug. And they're like, oh, God, not this one again. And I have a pair with handcuffs, and I always joke with the bailiff. I say, no, this is the new police officer uniform. See, now we got 2 cassettes of handcuffs. I can make the suspect, and that way I never run out of handcuffs. If I've got like 2 or 3 suspects.
So you're allowed to go into court with handcuffs of your own?
Yeah, well, they're attached to my pants. They're part of my uniform.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm just going to the court clerk. And so I say, just to be clear, I'm not going in front of Judge Burke or anybody. I'm just going to the court clerk saying, good morning, madam. I'd like to give you $50 in exchange for a piece of green paper called a certificate of default clearance. We reset. All was forgiven. The warrant was quashed. We have a new court date coming up where we're going to go and argue our case. And but then the certificate of default clearance, this green piece of paper, we had to take it up to the Concord DMV. It couldn't be the local Keene DMV. And I'm like, why? You're the same government office here in Keene. Well, no, only the Concord DMV, because his license has been suspended. They're the only ones authorized to reinstate it. So we had to drive all the way up to Concord.
Right. Which,
wait
of course,
3
if
hours.
You can't drive, how do you accomplish that?
Well, you have a good friend take you up there,
right.
whether
if
you want to
friends,
go or not.
You can do it. Yeah.
He didn't want to go. It was every excuse he had. It was just like, okay, what excuse is it going to be today, bud? I mean, Bud is in friend, not Bud is in his name. So, is my friend, and say like, what excuse are you going to give me today? All right, what was it yesterday? Why can't we do this? Literally, we can't drive and sit for 3 hours and go.
Did it take 3 hours when you got there?
Yeah, it was about a 3 hour wait, and we gave $125, and they changed the valid from N to Y. And then that was
ridiculous.
Well, no, because then we had to take a yellow piece of paper that we had paid $125 for back to the Keene DMV, where he then was allowed to take the written test, so he could get another yellow laminated piece of paper to go out and take the driving test. And that's where things got interesting, because I am from Illinois. I have an Illinois plated vehicle. Mm-hmm. There are so many bad things to say about Illinois. The one good thing I have to say, we don't require a vehicle inspection. to get registered with Illinois plates. You do not need a vehicle inspection ever. However old the vehicle is, whatever, no safety inspection.
Okay.
Well, this person starts going down their checklist, and it says, well, I can't give a road test here unless I have an inspection sticker on the car. And I'm like, sir, this is an Illinois-plated vehicle. Here is valid Illinois registration. Those stickers are valid. Here is my valid insurance card, and I'm a valid licensed Illinois driver. This is a street-legal vehicle. Now, if you can show me a rule where it says you can only use a New Hampshire-plated vehicle to take the road test, I'm more than happy to surrender. Otherwise, you and I are going and talking to your supervisor right now.
Wow.
And we're going to have a very, very long talk about, obviously, really, and I'm going to be making you look stupid. So do you want to do this, or do you just want to check the box that there was an inspection sticker on my car because this is retarded?
So you were
I didn't say that. Well, I said, sir, I'm totally apologize. I'm willing to go. There's this thing called Adobe Photoshop. I can go forge a non-existent Illinois inspection sticker because my government of Illinois does not issue these things. But if you need a piece of paper to check off some box, I'm willing to go forge it as long as you don't tell anybody that I forged it.
You said that to him?
Huh?
You actually said
I won't
that?
say whether I said it or not. Some jokes like that might not go over well.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, most bureaucrats probably would not find that funny.
I'll just say this. He did check the box.
Okay.
He got in the vehicle and passed.
Good.
And now my boy is now a man. He has a driver's license now. And I said, oh, well, no. Then we had to take his driver's test with another $50. And they took his one piece of plastic and gave him a new piece of plastic.
So after all was said and done, what was the total amount of money?
After $225 and about 12 hours of time to 3 different government agencies involving 5 different pieces of paper, we finally got his piece of plastic back. And I said, you know what's amazing, my good friend? A week ago, you could drive a car at a certain level of safety and competence. And now, a week later, after we spent $225 and 12 hours and 5 pieces of paper, you can now drive with the same level of safety and confidence, but now you won't be thrown into jail every time the cops pull you over.
That's true.
Isn't that amazing? For only $225 and 8 hours of time. I said,
That's
why do you
always
think
what it's
these
about
people
with
are
them.
miserable? Could you imagine being a DMV clerk and literally your entire job is, I take this piece of paper and punch it into here, and this piece of paper and punch it here, and that is your entire existence. And at some point you realize, what have I done to make God so angry that in this life I am a DMV clerk having to sit here listening to me? Well, no, sir, I can't
not only
give
that,
you a
but they have
driver's
to work
license
with the other
'cause you-
clerks. They have to work with the administrators.
Yes.
And so it's not only a boring, repetitive, thankless job that people hate you for, but also you're in a workplace with everybody else who's in the same
And that's why I
circumstances.
highly recommend, if you have to go into the DMV, if you're going in for road tests, don't do it. But if you have to sit there for some administrative paperwork, be stoned, be drunk, be hungover, be high, be whatever you have to be pleasant to these people. Because these DMV clerks, I will not say a bad word about them to their face. Because all they have to do is tappity-tap on that keyboard, and they can make your life very miserable.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Always remember that when you're talking with that government official, like that person with the keyboard, they're like a cop with a gun. They could kill you and get away with it, because you know why? They're the government. Who's going to stop them?
Well, Robin Hood of Keene has successfully been able to stop some of the government. Here in Keene, New Hampshire, where we live, there has been this phenomenon for, let's see, about, 6-7 years now. I guess it's been going on for quite a while. Robin Hood, maybe longer than that. Yeah, I think it was 2009 or whatever when Robin Hood started. It's about, 7 years.
Well, tell our listeners, what is Robin Hooding?
Robin Hooding is where you load up with some coinage, and you hit the streets, you look for the parking enforcer, find the parking enforcer enforcing wherever it is they are, and then get in front of the parking enforcer, maybe about 20 feet or so in front of them, and start checking the meters before the parking enforcer can reach the meter. If you find an expired meter, you drop a coin into it, giving that person some more time. You leave a little calling card on the person's windshield to let them know that they were saved from getting a parking ticket by Robin Hood of Keene. And then you repeat that over and over and over and over
Until
again.
the city sues you.
Until the city sues you.
For tortuous interference.
And
you
civil
naughty little
conspiracy.
boy.
And civil conspiracy. That came later.
Harassment and a bunch of other stuff.
They wanted money as well. And that case has been going on now since 2013. We'll give you an update on Robin Hood of Keene. Coming up here, 855 450 free allows you to join us. You can take control of the airwaves on Free Talk Live.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-958-5345. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-958-5345. That's 1-800-958-5345.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Injury Help Desk is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisements. Services may not be available in all states. Attention prescription antibiotic drug users. Have you or a loved one suffered an aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm after taking the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox? These popular antibiotic drugs have been prescribed more than 80 million times since 2004, and medical studies show an increased risk of the following injuries: aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, and abdominal aortic aneurysm. If you or a loved one used the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox and suffered from aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You may already know about the Free Talk Live audio on demand phone line at 641-793-9660. Did you know that not only can you listen to Free Talk Live via your phone, you can also leave a message and have it delivered to Free Talk Live's hosts? To leave us your thoughts, just dial 641-793-9660. That's 641-793-9660. Press 2 for Free Talk Live, and then hit 0 to leave your message.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, the latest on Robin Hood of Keene. The court battle continues between the heroic activists who have saved thousands of people from getting parking tickets in the small town of Keene, New Hampshire, versus the parking enforcers and their backers and attorneys with the city of Keene. We'll give you the latest on that. Plus, Bitcoin.com is your premier source for everything Bitcoin related. You can get help buying Bitcoins or choosing a Bitcoin wallet. You can read the latest news or engage with the community on the Bitcoin forum. And you can find places to spend your Bitcoin or play online games with the cryptocurrency. It's the source for all your Bitcoin needs and news, Bitcoin.com. As we continue here, let's go to Ricky. He's in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky.
Gentlemen, good evening.
Hey, what's on your mind?
Well, great topic tonight, Ian. I caught in on a little late. And, I wanted to, after I start getting this rolling, I'd really like to kind of get TJ's thoughts on this, too. I think this applies to him also in his own kind of way.
Okay, what are you talking about?
Well, the topic tonight.
Which
I
one?
mentioned in the past
Being angry? Or grumpy?
Yeah, but when it comes to things that I think most people that are on the show, and I think like myself and some of the other people that call in that are very active in civil rights and things like that, that's the way I'm approaching it. That anger. It's not anger, it's frustration, but it can border on anger, and it can turn into anger, if I may, Ian.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I could use myself. What's that, Ian?
I didn't say anything.
I didn't say.
yes.
I was about to say.
I
By the
whispered, I
way,
said yes.
I always want to put a smile on the bailiff's faces.
TJ, you got your chance in the second book.
Okay, go ahead and finish. I thought you were finished, buddy. That's why I jumped in. You always have the first word and last, sir. Go right ahead.
Pessimism equals preparation.
Go right ahead, sir. I'm going to shut my yap.
That being said, okay. I know myself. I call in the show a lot, and I sometimes talk about some heavy-duty, cutting-edge stuff. A lot of people may not understand. Now, my first instance of civil rights was at 5 years old. And at a point, I mentioned that I'm a Gnostic. And as a Gnostic, there's certain things that make you a very powerful person, things that may be mystical. Now, with that power comes responsibility. Now, when dealing with others, especially those who don't understand, I got to tell you, I lead a very selfless life. A lot of people don't. My effectiveness, a lot of times, people are unaware of what I do. And everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be loved. And
I think that's true.
And what it comes down to is, I have people spit in my face. I've had people break bottles over my head. A lot of it out of misunderstanding. And those same people are the ones that I'm there for. And, and I don't persecute those who don't understand, because here's the secret. When you look at the good book, Ian, and then I want to kind of get TJ's take on, or anybody else's, the good book, it's so simple. And people didn't understand it then. They understand it less now.
You talking about the Bible?
Things that were spoken about more than anything. And that was
no, he said the good book.
By Big C.
No, it's not a really good book.
Peace, love, and understanding. And here's how it works. It's only through love and understanding can we ever achieve peace. It's that simple, and that's how I deal with it.
I got to agree with you on that one tonight, Ricky. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. What do you think? He asked for your opinion,
Well, I
TJ.
promised him to have the last word, and I don't think it's fair for me to go back on my word, so I said you have the first and the last word.
Well, he did ask you what you thought, though.
Well, okay. I'm going to backtrack on what I said before. Sorry, but so, hey, look, every time I go in with those bailiffs, the first time it's like, oh my goodness, it's a crazy person. But I always want to put a smile on their face. Like, I always... obviously I'm saying in a way, like, isn't this silly what we have to do? Like, I'm taking off all my metal because, my trip pants, they're raver pants. So they have, like, all kinds of chains and handcuffs. Right. So, of course, I have to remove all of them because the rules say any chains, they have to be taken off because they could be used as a weapon. And so I'm like, yeah, really, lady? It's like, do you really think this place has the tightest security? Like, I watched one guy walk in. He just walked up to the court clerk, and I was with my guy, and I pointed to my ears, and I said, you want to learn to be a spy? Listen, don't say a word. Guy walks up, the clerk says, I'm a DEA federal agent. He's dressed in plain clothes, has his Glock 22 sidearm on him. I want this case done. No credential check. Didn't bother to show his ID. And I said, now, isn't that amazing? A guy just walked up and said, I'm a U.S. Marshal or an FBI agent.
Wasn't it possible they knew who he was?
It's possible, but, that's the thing. How hard do you think it is if, I always tell these people, look, a smart, crazy person is very dangerous because they look and they are smart enough to figure out how to get around your security. And the thing is, this is a security theater, so why don't we just dispense with it? I would love to go into the courthouse and not have any
it is
security.
You're right. It's not going to stop the smart people or the determined people, but it will stop the sloppy ones, right? The ones who just on a lark, they decide they want to slice a judge up and they, grab a knife and trundle on down to the courthouse.
I'm not going to do this, but I'm like, do you really think it would be that hard with as much lingo as I know about federal agents? I go, my name's Special Agent Spy, da-da-da-da-da. And they go, right around security, sir. I mean, if you got that piece of plastic or that shiny tin badge, they don't ever check. And the Inspector General confirmed this. They actually printed up fake FBI credentials, and they would say, "We're here to get on the plane." And they were real FBI. They were real special agents with the Inspector General's office pretending to be fake special agents trying to get into the Pentagon police. And so that was just the crazy thing, is they walked into the NSA, the CIA, some of the places with the tightest security, and they would just say, "Oh yeah, we're with the Anne Arundel County Sheriff," and the NSA security just let them on in.
Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. Dave is in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Dave.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Well, the NH exit forums have blown up a little bit, or the discussion group on Facebook has blown up a little bit.
Yep, you've had your first schism.
Sort of. But really, it's over something that most people never even talk about, and that is moderating or banning people who are not really that constructive to a forum.
Well, I would say there have been plenty of conversations about this over the years. I mean, it just, as any forum gains membership, it also is going to attract trolls. It's going to attract people who are incompetent and who are annoying or whatever. And that is what was happening in the NH Exit forum that you're talking about on Facebook. Was somebody was in there posting in a way that was kind of distracting, that wasn't really adding anything. It wasn't like he was spamming. He wasn't in there, advertising for a shoe sale at some store or something like that. He was in there, and he was an actual user of the forum. It's just that he was posting things that a lot of people didn't appreciate, that were kind of junking up the forum. Not really on topic exactly, and so there was some debate as to whether or not this person should be kicked out. That's what you're referring to, right?
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people look at these kinds of things and they think, well, this is just a distraction, and we shouldn't be talking about this person, we shouldn't care, we should just ban him or whatever. But it's, to me, it's a fairly big deal and not a waste of time at all, in the sense that we want to be setting an example of how do we handle controversial people, right? Do we just dictatorially handle them, or do we democratically handle them? Do we not handle them at all? Do we let them do whatever they want?
These are excellent questions, and they have been addressed many times. If you want to continue the discussion, Dave, stand by. We'll dig into it. What is the right way to approach this? Well, I mean, the fact is not everybody can agree on the right way to handle this, which causes all kinds of conflict and strife, which ends up in splits, and that's what happened to this group. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Are your Google search results killing you? Unflattering content in blogs, news articles, online reviews, social media, or other sources can jeopardize your reputation, your business, and your livelihood. Let Reputation.com help. Our patented technology will make the truth about you more visible while pushing down unwanted negative content. Improve your Google search results. Call Reputation.com at 1-800-831-0771 for a free consultation. That's 800-831-0771.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Tuesday, gold is up $4 at $1,344 per ounce. Silver is 3 cents lower at $19.84 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $568 US. At Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, we've been helping clients buying and selling precious metals for nearly 40 years. To see how we can help you, give us a call today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item on Amazon. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we invite you to our website over at freetalklive.com. Enjoy the features waiting for you right there. You can get interactive for free. Also, you can contribute via Bitcoin if you would like to Free Talk Live. Just go to bitcoin.freetalklive.com. What's that? You don't have a Bitcoin wallet yet? Well, we have one we recommend here. It's the official wallet of Free Talk Live, and it's called Jaxx. JAXX.io is the website where you can download Jaxx. It's cross-platform, so maybe you've got an Android smartphone, an iOS device. Perhaps you've got a laptop with Windows or Linux or Mac on it. Well, you can get Jaxx for any of those things. Also, browser plugins available for Chrome and Firefox. All of it's over at jaxx.io or your favorite app store, jaxx.io. You can hold Bitcoin, Ether, and I hear they're going to be adding Dash very soon to Jaxx. There's also Shapeshift integration right there into the Jaxx wallet, which will mean that you can change from one cryptocurrency to another. So if you want to change from your Bitcoin into Ether or vice versa, you can easily do that with Jaxx, with Shapeshift right there in the wallet. It was created by Anthony Diorio. He is the Chief Digital Officer of the Toronto Stock Exchange and a Free Talk Live listener. By the way, it's super easy to back up your wallet with Jaxx, which means that if something terrible happens to your phone, nothing terrible will happen to your Bitcoin. Jaxx is striving to give you command over your digital life. Coins, contracts, currencies, identity, and more. It's your digital command center in the palm of your hand. Jaxx is the official wallet of Free Talk Live. We're on with Dave in New Hampshire. Many of you may know him as Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. And Dave, you're also the founder of NHExit.com, which has become the third kind of secessionist or independence supporting organization. There's not much organization to it, but it's just a group of folks on Facebook, and some of them do things in real life, like doing real life kind of outreach events or protests or demonstrations or whatever you want to call that. And so there was recently recalling about some of the, I guess, the drama that was happening within the group, where people could not get along with one particular person who was in there seemingly just to continue trolling people. And ultimately, you asked the question, should this person be banned from the group? And you took a poll of the members of the group, saying that if it was 2/3 in one direction to ban the person, that you would go ahead and do it. And you were kind of questioning whether or not that was the right approach, or what did you want to share tonight about that?
Well, this is the idea that we want to set an example in the territories that we control, even if those are just virtual territories. We want to behave there towards dissidents the way that we would want to be treated, and to tell the people of New Hampshire or the world or whatever that folks like us deserve whatever power we have, which in many cases is not very much power. But yeah, he was voted. The vote was more than 2/3 to ban him, is the term that I use. Really, I think block is the right word now that I've gone in and done it for the first time.
So the arguments here, as I recall them, I mean, I didn't read in detail what this guy was posting, but I did know that people were upset by him. The argument was, well, okay, for the people that said let him stay was, if you don't like this guy, you can just block him on your own personal Facebook account, and then you won't see his posts. So why not let him stay in the group? The other side of that argument was, well, there are new people who are coming into the group, and those people aren't blocking this person. If they come in and all they see is this guy's junk posts or whatever it was that he was putting in there, off topic or not quite appropriate posts, then that may turn off a new person from wanting to even read the forum long enough to find the value and the valuable posts in it. So I ended up not voting in the poll just because I had not read enough of his posts to know for sure exactly what his deal was. But a lot of people did vote against him. But it, of course, caused the same old controversy that I've seen again and again. People who support the trolling will say things like, oh, well, this is public, and you should be able to post whatever you want in a public group. Like, well, no, it's got a purpose. There's a reason why this group exists. It's to promote the idea of New Hampshire declaring independence from the United States, and posts that aren't related to that don't belong there.
Not necessarily to promote it, but rather to discuss it. And to the extent that he was involved in that, I don't think there was too much of a problem. He was a little bit anti-Semitic sounding in some of his posts, but the main concern that some people had, I think, was just that he was off topic and he was just taking up space. But again, it's not really just about him. It's really about us and the idea of how do you handle dissent, whether you're going to act like Stop Free Keene and cut off any people who want to come on the discussion group and complain about Stop Free Keene. And really, to be honest with you, some of the way that you handle some of your forums, which is pretty controlled. The Free Keene forums require some sort of, you're supposed to sign that you agree with something or another before you can
no, you're talking about the Shire Society Forum. The Free Keene Forum hasn't existed for years, but the Shire Society Forum is what it turned into. And yeah, we do want people on that forum who have signed the Shire Society Declaration. It is the Shire Society Forum. There are plenty of places on the internet where you can debate with libertarians. And if I don't want that to be happening on my forum, then I don't want it to be happening there. So, I mean, that's just the rules of that organization. If somebody wants to open up a forum for a total, free fest, go ahead and post whatever junk you want, then you're going to get a bunch more junk, and there's going to be very, very little of value there. So I generally lean towards more moderation when it comes to groups that have a specific purpose, but it's not my group. So what I suggested to one of the people was, one of the folks from the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence was, hey, the best solution here is to not argue about it, is to just go ahead and break off and start a new group. And that's what happened, actually. There's been another group created now, which is only going to let in, vetted, known activists who are actually, willing to get out in the streets and actually do something rather than just post on Facebook. So now you've got the more generalized forum, which is your NH Exit forum, and you've got a more specific moderated forum. So, we can have it all.
Yeah, I just think it's important where possible, if the purpose of a discussion group is to discuss something, provide as much free speech as possible. It did end up having to block the guy ultimately. Well, not having to, but complying with the wishes of the supermajority of our community. But I still, if possible, I would like to think that that's a more lenient approach toward him than most forums would have taken.
It may have been. I mean, ultimately, what you decided to do was choose one group of people over another. I mean, that's not atypical. That's what happened to me with the Free State Project. The Free State Project basically told me to go take a hike because they didn't want to lose some of the other people that were more valuable to them as far as activists were concerned, as
Is
far
that
as
how you feel with
volunteers.
I believe your press release. I love the press release. It says, "We've decided to go our mutually separate directions, and Ian, we admire him. Unfortunately, he and will no longer be welcome at our events, and we wish him the best in his future endeavors." I'm like, oh, that's like a termination letter from a company. Like, very passive aggressive.
They were going to have a mutiny on their hands from the some of their volunteers if they didn't do that. So they picked one group of people over another. And ultimately, whenever a group gets large enough, you're going to have these internal conflicts. And that's what most libertarians
We'll have more.
Huh?
It's going to happen again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll keep happening again and again and again. I mean, it has happened multitudes of times already. Some people acted like the time I got kicked out of the Free State Project events was like the first thing. No, it was actually 2 weeks before that. We had another schism where people were mad because Garrett Ian recorded Edward Snowden at the Liberty Forum. I mean, it just constantly happens in large groups of people, and that's what libertarians don't understand. If they don't live in New Hampshire, because there's never more than 5 to 10 of them in any given city. And so, they're all just so desperate to know someone else who's a libertarian, they overlook any kind of issues or controversy for the most part. But once you get up to 30 people, 50 people, 100 people, you're going to have a split. It's almost a guarantee. It's just the way people are. Thanks, Dave, for your call tonight, and thanks for all the hard work out there. RidleyReport.com is his site, and, of course, NHExit.com as well. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And, of course, if you're actually successful at your activism, then the state will target you for lawsuits. And we'll talk about Robin Hood of Keene saving people from parking tickets coming up on Free Talk Live.
I'm Governor Gary Johnson. I'll be on the ballot for president in all 50 states. If a Democrat is elected president, if a Republican is elected president, in 4 years, we will still be at war. America will be 4 years deeper in debt. We will have 4 more years of rising taxes, bigger government, crony capitalism instead of free markets, and less freedom. How do we know this? Because that's what both parties keep delivering. If you're an optimist, you know that one day America will have its act together. One day we won't be at war. One day taxes will be fair. One day our social and economic challenges will be conquered, not by force, but by cooperation and mutual respect. To the independent majority of Americans who feel as I do, I say, why wait one more day?
Our best America yet. Johnson Weld, 2016.
Paid for by Gary Johnson, 2016.
Technically, I wasn't invited to this wedding, but you can stroll into any event with a camera and people will assume you're the photographer. This bag's holding more than cameras. It's also got an RFID scanner that's picking up all your personal information. Debit cards, credit cards, even that key to your office. So while the bride's taking his last name, I'll be taking yours. Say cheese!
Do you have a stronghold on your identity? ID Stronghold pioneered RFID blocking technology over a decade ago. For about the same price as an unprotected wallet, you can get a stronghold on your credit cards, license, and other critical data with ID Stronghold wallets, card sleeves, and purses. Other RFID blocking technology simply isn't the same. Check the label. If it's not an ID Stronghold, it's probably weak.
I'm Walt Augustinowicz, founder and CEO of ID Stronghold. Protect yourself from crimes you can't see with ID Stronghold wallets in bifold, trifold, and the popular mini style.
Get the original RFID blocking wallets. IDstronghold.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those 2 tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us here in the reigning moments at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The website, of course, freetalklive.com. You can get interactive there in a variety of different ways. All of them are free. Now, if you want to support the show, you can do that by getting behind our satellite fundraiser. It's happening now, and it's happening for the next 3 days. It's been going on for 2 months, and we're coming to the end of it. Thank you to everyone who's contributed so far. We're not going to likely make the goal, but that's okay because it's an Indiegogo fundraiser. So whatever it is that we raise, we'll get to keep after Indiegogo takes their fundraising cut. So we will, keep whatever it is that's raised. We're going to put that towards our satellite channels, continuing the operation of our North and Central American satellite, as well as the Sub-Saharan African satellite as well. If you support the ideas of liberty and spreading them all around the globe, please get behind that satellite channel. Or those satellite channels by going to fund.lrn.fm. That's F-U-N-D, fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of perks available. Everybody who donates will get a free copy of Darrell W. Perry's audiobook and PDF version of A Rebel's Journey. And there's some other perks available there as well. So go get the details about what we're doing. You can learn more about free-to-air satellite and exactly what we're up to. And contribute as little as you want, $5, $50, whatever you can afford. We appreciate it, and it'll all go towards continuing to spread the message of liberty and peace all over the world, at least as far as we can do it with the money that we have. So thank you over at fund.lrn.fm. That's F-U-N-D, fund. And if you haven't spread that link, posting it on your social media, please take a moment to do that, even if you can't afford to give. That's one way that you can help give back. So, headline at the Keene Sentinel, incorrect. Robin Hooders, City of Keene, could head back to New Hampshire Supreme Court. No, we're already back at the New Hampshire Supreme Court.
$70,000. If they just would have paid James.
That was just the first part of the case.
If they will, heck, with that kind of money, we could have hired two, like a public school teacher or a police officer, or so whatever such days. I'm like, really? That's
the amount the city paid at least for the first portion